The search for Michael Vaughan continues. Michael went missing from his neighborhood in Fruitland in July of 2021. He was just 5 years old at the time. Law enforcement has spent the last year and a half investigating. But the Fruitland police chief says a credible tip led investigators to a home near Michael's neighborhood this weekend.
Crews are back out in Fruitland today searching for Michael Vaughan. Police believe his remains are in the backyard of a Fruitland home, and today is the 6th day crews are excavating the yard. Crews could be at the house on Red Wing Street for another week. This house is just 4 minutes from the Vaughn's home.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughan could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wondra's home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughan were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wondra's residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
Evidence suggests that the following individuals who are currently in custody are involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. Sarah Wondra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction. Sarah Wondra is currently being held at the Payette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. And Stacy Wondra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. Brandon Shirtliff, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wondra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian Lucian, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wondra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction.
Hello, everybody. What is going on? It's Thursday. Yay, one more day till Friday. Welcome in, everybody, to Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. I am Samantha. It is Thursday, May 29th, 2025. How the heck is everybody doing? Have you guys enjoyed your week? I have been enjoying my time with my family this week. I've been seeing my grandbabies a lot. I got to spend all day long with them yesterday. Still asking for some prayers as some test results come in about my daughter. It would be much, much appreciated. And thank you so much, Jemima, for sending me some information. And you know, now we can go over this live that Josh from the lab did. He went live on one of his live streams, and Sarah Wandra's ex-husband from like 12 years or so ago showed up in chat and had all kinds of things to say about Sarah Wondra always wanting to kidnap people. So we're going to take a listen to that today. I also have about 13 to 15 minutes of some TikToks I've downloaded previously. I've got some Facebook posts that we'll go over just to make the live a little bit longer. And yeah, thank you guys all. Oh, you haven't heard about this one? Yeah. Sarah's ex-husband says a lot. I cannot wait to share it with you if you haven't heard it yet. Thank you guys for the prayers. I really do appreciate it. It's a very serious situation. I don't want to air out too much of our information, but yeah, we're waiting on some test results that we are just hoping and praying are negative. And I've been quite stressed out about it, and I know my daughter well enough to know that she's stressed about it too, and she's just hiding it a little bit. But yes, I am. Well, no, I'm not covering her ex-boss. I'm covering the husband. Actually, I should have thrown that in too, but I didn't. So let's see who's in the house. We've got Sassy Gigi in the house. We got Pretty Assessor in the house. We have Pam Fogel in the house. Thank you guys all coming in. Stephanie, my beautiful moderator. Hair Curlers in Crime is the best YouTube name on the streets. I absolutely love it. We have Jemima. Thank you so very much for coming in, hun. And we've got Sarah Suspicious. I love, love, love how suspicious your name is. And I love you so, so much. We had a great conversation this week, which was so amazing. Let's see. Yeah, Stephanie says she's never heard this. We got Emilio. Thank you so much for coming in. And Sally Mae. Thank you for coming in, hon. Love to see you here. Let me see. Eve Hickman's here. Thank you for joining. Thank you all for coming in and supporting Michael Vaughan and supporting the Vaughan family. I know it means so much to the Vaughan family when they see people coming in and showing up. Kelly, my beautiful, beautiful friend, thank you so much for coming in, hun. She decided to change her mind and take the wrench anyway. Kelly and I have become great friends. She's Brandy's sister from another mother. Kelly is here. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you. Oh, let me just see. I Plead the Fifth is in the house. Good to have you here. Mama Bear 222. Aren't we all Mama Bears? We are all mama bears, especially when it comes to Monkey Vaughan. We got our mama feelings when we're talking about these kids. So glad you're here to catch a live, mama bear. Work and pudding. I am not joking when I say this. Every single time you come into live, not only do I say you make me want pudding, but eventually later on in the evening, I'll get out a box of that sugar-free pudding, and I'll use my almond milk to make it a little bit like low carb, and I will make some pudding. You always remind me that I have boxes of sugar-free pudding that I never use, but I have been since you've been coming in. So I appreciate you so much because it's keeping me from eating the bullshit that I shouldn't be eating. The Big O is in the house. Hello, great to have you. Let me see if I missed anybody. The Real Gemini, no lie, is in the house. I just got here. Don't know what my prayer is for, but my heart says she will be okay. I love that. Thank you so much. I love you too, honey. I've just had an emotional week, you guys. I'm just not gonna lie. Like all the stuff going on with my daughter has me so worked up. So I'm here. I'm doing a live. It's keeping my mind off of things. And you know what? I could yell, I could scream, I could cry. Who knows? Because it's just one of those days. So just saying. Renee, thank you for coming in, and McSporin from Scotland is in the house. Thank you, my dear, for showing up today. If you don't love all children like they're your own, then you don't deserve to call Earth home. I agree. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Absolutely. Love, love all children. You know, my grandkids give me more happiness than I've ever felt in my entire life. Besides having my own children, this whole new part of love that you don't think you're ever going to feel again because you already felt it once with your children. And then they have kids, and that love just grows so much more and becomes so strong. If you're not a grandparent and you have children, when you become a grandparent, you will completely understand what I'm saying to you right now. That love intensifies by the thousands because you see your kids in them, and then you see them loving their children, and then their children love you in a way that even your children, I'm not going to say didn't love, but it's just so different. And the best part about it is you get to spoil them rotten and watch them when you want, be around them when you want and everything else. And then you still have your own time. I love it. I love being a grandma. I got 6 grandbabies ranging from 2 to 15 years old. Let me just see. Just looking to see if I've missed anybody. I really just love welcoming everybody in. All right. And then Pam says she's going to her daughter's house tomorrow for like 10 days. Oh my gosh, Pam, that's going to be so much fun. We have a new member in the house. Why isn't it showing up? Hold on a second. I just saw it. Where'd it go? There it is. Helena, thank you so much for joining. I am so glad that you have become a member. Thank you so much, love. Everybody, let's get ready to dance in your chairs. Hold on to your chair. I appreciate you becoming a member so much because I cannot be here without you. I really do appreciate it. Jen R is in the house. Thank you for coming in. Randy Neal Vaughn, Michael Joseph Vaughn's mama, is here. She said, sending you all love. Good to see you, Brandy. I love you so much. Thank you for your prayers for my daughter. I hope you're feeling good after getting all that fluid off of your body today. Let's see who else is here. All right, everybody. So, what do we got going on today? Well, we got a few things going on today. Where is my... Hold on one second. There it is. Let's just add that up. Okay. A few things to go over today. I don't know how long we will be live. It could be just for a little bit. It could be for a couple hours. We'll see how it goes. This is Michael Joseph Vaughan. He was abducted on July 27th, 2021. And the four named suspects in Michael Vaughan's abduction is Sarah Wondra, who we will be talking about today, Stacy Wondra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Shurtleff. These four named suspects are suspects. Updated January 10th of 2025. Charges are coming for all four suspects. And they are coming soon. Michael was abducted from Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood, right around the corner from his house. These four suspects have came up on panel. They've talked to people. They're all liars. They all want you to believe they have nothing to do with Michael's abduction, but yet share information with YouTube creators showing that they do have knowledge of Michael's abduction. It doesn't make sense. It is time for Michael Vaughan to get the justice that he deserves, for people to be charged, and so the case can start moving forward. And there are people out there that have more information about Michael Vaughan's abduction and his murder. And I'm talking about more people knowing not just the suspects, but other people that have knowledge. Family members, friends, people that knew the Wondras. And when the time comes and law enforcement finds out that these people have not came forward and spoken to law enforcement, they will be charged for hindering Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder, for hindering his case. So I suggest anybody that has any information regarding Michael's abduction to call the Fruitland Police Department's tip line at 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Now, Brandy Neal Vaughan recently put out a Facebook post that I would like to read as soon as I rewind it because it got ahead of me. She posted this last week. She wanted everybody to share it, creators, people on their Facebook. So please, if you would like to do something for the Vaughan family, please go to Brandy Vaughan's Facebook. It's a public Facebook, and you can take this and share it on your social media. Michael Joseph Vaughan was abducted July 27, 2021. There are 4 named suspects in the abduction of Michael Joseph Vaughan, lovingly known as Monkey: Stacy Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shirtliff, and Adrian Lucian. Stacy and Sarah are in prison on unrelated charges in the abduction of Michael. Adrian and Brandon are free, walking the streets of Idaho, Montana, and Ohio. Fruitland Police Department has publicly stated that these 4 suspects are involved and have knowledge of the abduction of Michael Joseph Vaughan. Fruitland Police Department has also stated that based on evidence, they believe that Michael is deceased and these 4 suspects are involved and have knowledge of the abduction and the whereabouts of Michael Vaughan. They have knowledge of the abduction and the whereabouts of Brandy Vaughan's son, Michael. Fruitland Police Department has handed over Michael's case to the Payette County Prosecution Office. As we speak, law enforcement and our legal justice system continuously works to find Michael, to bring him home, and for those all involved to be brought to justice. To find Michael, to bring him home, and for those all involved be brought to justice. Michael will receive justice. Our family, our community, our law enforcement, anyone who loves Michael will get justice for the heartache, anger. For some reason, it wouldn't let me finish reading the rest. It has been, 4,002 days now. I believe it was 1,400, so 1,402 days today of pure torture and nightmares of not knowing if Michael is safe, if he's hungry, happy, sad, if he misses us, how much he has grown. These 4 monsters made a decision on July 27, 2021 that has tortured our family, law enforcement, and community. These heartless creatures that pose as human beings know where Michael is. They refuse to let us bring Monkey home to rest and grieve. These 4 suspects continue to lie, manipulate, and protect each other, all while enjoying the grief they impose on all who love Monkey. And they really do seem to just really get off on that, right? Giving the Vaughan family more pain than they need to when they could just come out and tell everybody where Monkey is. The unknown has been an endless journey, pure anguish, and these 4 suspects continue to enjoy torturing all who love Michael. There are also people who support and protect these suspects and are believed to also know of details of what happened on and around July 27, 2021. Rest assured that these people will also be held accountable by all law enforcement and legal justice system for their knowledge and or hindrance in the active ongoing investigation in the abduction of Michael Joseph Vaughan. Brandy Neal Vaughan is giving a warning to the people who support and protect these suspects and are believed to also know of details of what happened on and around July 27, 2021. And if you think that Fruitland police aren't going to get you for hindering the investigation, you are wrong. Justice is coming. That is inevitable. I made a promise to Monkey and we will never give up. And I pinky promise I will not. So I am asking everyone to please continue to share Michael's beautiful face and his story. Please share facts from law enforcement on all of your social media public platforms and that you possibly can. And that is the absolute best way to help the Vaughns, to help Michael, is to please share Michael. Brandy says, I'm begging you, please, please, anyone and everyone to see Michael's beautiful face. I want everyone to know what an incredible little boy, Michael is, and he deserves justice and peace. Please, please, anyone that has any knowledge of the whereabouts of Michael Vaughan and or any information on the suspects from July 27th of 2021, or even days prior to Michael's abduction or days after Michael's abduction, come forward. Remember the day. What were you doing in that neighborhood in Fruitland, Idaho, the day that Michael Vaughan was abducted? What were you doing? Did you go to the store? Did you go for a walk in the neighborhood? What did you see? Did you see Stacy, Sarah, Brandon, Adrian? Did you see anybody in the Vaughn's neighborhood doing anything suspicious? Did you see anything on 9th and Washington or 8th in Arizona or down 8th Street at the splash pad where Stacy Wondra was earlier that day? What did you see? Please remember. Go back in your mind and try to remember everything you did that day, because the child was abducted in your neighborhood, and I know that that sticks in your head. So what did you do when you woke up? How many times did you leave your neighborhood? Did you leave to go to work and come back from going to work? Did you have to go visit somebody that day or get a haircut that day? What did you see coming in and out of the neighborhood? And if you were in Ontario or Payette or in Cuna, any of the places where these suspects were, please remember what you were doing. Did you see them? Were you at Applebee's when Adrian Lucian went to go visit his son and his ex-girlfriend? Did you see Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian all together? Did you see them doing anything suspicious? Did you see Adrian just go in for a minute and walk back out? Did he even stay? Try to remember where you were, what you were doing on July 27th, 2021, or days prior or after Michael Vaughan's abduction. It is so, so important. And if you have any information to turn into law enforcement, Brandy says, if you have any information or tips, please call the Fruitland Police Department at 208-642-6006. You can also email findmichael@fruitland.org, 1-800-THE-LOST, and 343 Crime Stoppers, and you can remain anonymous. You can also collect over $52,000 for any information leading to the closure here in Michael Vaughan's abduction. Where is he now? Please, if you have any information at all, please help bring Michael home. Monkey will never, we will never give up. Pinky promise. I love you, Michael, Joe. I will never give up. Brandy also says, thank you everyone for your endless support, love, prayers, and kindness to everyone. Sincerely, Brandy Vaughan. If you want to do anything for Michael Vaughan, if you want to be Michael Vaughan's hero, come forward, get whatever you have on your chest, get it off your chest. Feel great about yourself knowing that you helped break the Michael Vaughan case, that you gave a tip that was the one puzzle piece to this entire puzzle, because we need those tips coming in, especially now as charges are going to be brought forth. So please, the tip line, 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too small. Let law enforcement decide if your tip is credible. You may think it's nothing, but your tip may match somebody else's tip. It could actually match 15 other people's tip. Your tip could be the one and only tip that leads law enforcement to Michael Joseph Vaughan, or to, even bigger yet, bigger charges, bigger pieces of evidence for Michael Vaughan's case. That's what's important. Michael is what's important. Nothing you think, nothing that you feel, nothing. All that's important is if you know something, say something, please. Michael Vaughan is just so very special to me, and I know he's so special to so many people here in chat, and it's so important, so important to just keep Michael's story alive, to tell it, to share his face, and that's what Monkey's Army is going to do. We are always going to be here. Areas, please check any photos taken around the dates. Look in the background. If you have any doorbell cams, if you have any video footage at all within these, July 25th through July 28th from that neighborhood or surrounding areas where we know that they were, if you live next to Tina Mariel and haven't turned in any of that information, please do so. Opal is here today. Thank you so much for coming in, love. And she has a message for us today. Just a gentle reminder, you are appreciated. Don't ever give up on yourself, and don't listen to others who give up on you. You matter, and I believe in you. And you matter to us, Opal. We believe in you. Thank you so much for sharing your kindness every time you come in. I really, really do appreciate it. Okay, so just looking through some comments real quick. Thank you guys all for being here and being so supportive. No decent person would cover for these monsters. I consider anybody that has any information that is not coming forward as big as monsters. It's the people that actually abducted and murdered him. Michael deserves justice, and if you know anything, you need to call law enforcement, 208-642-6006, or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Michael Vaughan, Monkey. And I heard he was quite the little monkey. He's got such beautiful energy, just like his sister, Buggy. Brandy Lee Ropp is in the house, and thank you so much for a super sticker. Hold on to your chairs while we give a little dance. Thank you so much for the super sticker, hun. I really do appreciate you so much, and for your love and kindness and support, Brandy. It's amazing. I just absolutely adore you so much. You are a great supporter in Michael Vaughan's case. Avi's in the house. Hi, hun. You must have just came in. I didn't see you while I was reading. Okay. Thank you, Teresa. I really appreciate that. Okay, so I have some TikToks that I recorded a long time ago that are very strange, Sarah. We are going to go over Josh the Lab because we're just talking about Sarah today. That's who we are talking about. I found something very strange, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but I just accidentally found it today because me and Kelly, we were looking through a whole bunch of JLR videos and stuff when we got up, like hanging up off of the phone. This one video staring me in the face. I had no clue about this. This is somebody that Sarah Wondra knew. Let me share my screen real quick. This was just strange. I mean, we already know that these suspects knew some pretty shady people, okay? We know that they have, no 16 and more, even since I've done that video, RSOs, registered as offenders. Over 16, you guys. And they're all connected to one another. And then I saw this on JLR. If somebody could find JLR's link, one of you mods, please. And because I did forget to copy him. I want to give him some credit for this. But listen, this is going to start off. This is Jamie Burkhart, is who JLR investigates, is going through Facebook and connecting the dots between Jamie Burkhart and Sarah Wondra. And then he explains who Jamie is and what happened at her daycare. So here you just have that's Jamie. It's a picture of her. He's just going through her Facebook. He finds friends list and finds Sarah Wondra.
Jamie?
Let me put on some closed caption here for everybody so we can see everything. He's going to tell you who Jamie Burkhart is.
Burkhart. Jamie Burkhart. Who is Jamie Burkhart? So I Googled around and found this about Jamie.
Thank you, Sarah.
This is a newspaper article from March 6, 2007. Former Oregon daycare owner arrested on abuse charges. Police believe there may be more victims yet to come forward in this case. On Monday, Albany police detectives arrested 27-year-old Albany resident Jamie Tennille Burkhart on multiple
S offenses
involving a minor boy. Burkhart was lodged in the Lynn County Jail on the following charges: blank in the first degree.
It says here, very bad. That's why he does not say it. You'll have to read your screen. If you want to zoom in now, you can. Horrible in the first degree, 8 counts. And then S, abuse in the first degree. Attempted R in the first degree.
Blank in the first degree, 8 counts. Attempted in the first degree, 1 count. The investigation began in early January 2007 when a 20-year-old male reported that he'd been abused by
He had been abused by Burkhart.
over a nearly 2-year period, beginning in approximately 1996 when he was 10 years old. During this time,
This is a little boy, 10 years old, being abused by this woman, Sarah Wandra's friend. Just one more friggin' creep to add to the list of all of these RSOs and friggin' weirdos connected to the Wandras, Brandon and Adrian. This is disgusting. It's disgusting. It's so disturbing to hear this. Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. Who are these people? Who do you know, if anybody, who do you know that has connections to over 16 RSOs and knows people like this? We need to start throwing out the trash, y'all. It's time to bring back old school ways of getting rid of sickos like this. I'm just saying.
frame, Jamie Tennille Burkhart operated the Winnie the Pooh Daycare Center.
And this person ran a daycare center with even more children in it. Some of those RSOs that I found, they were working with children in the church, in 2 different churches. Working with children in churches.
Out of her Albany residence located at blah, blah, blah. Jamie Tennille Burkhart, a state certified daycare provider, continued to provide daycare services until about 6 months ago. The investigation is ongoing, and there is reason to believe that there are more victims who have not been identified. Anyone with information regarding Jamie Tennille Burkhart is asked to call the Albany Police Department Detective Section. So this is a friend.
And this is from March 6th, 2007. And he's finding this information out after Sarah is a named suspect. Maybe Sarah didn't know, but guess what? I'm just going to say, in my own personal opinion, I feel like she probably knew. Look how many RSOs they all hang out with. Because something funky's going on here, guys. It's weird.
Of Sarah Wondra. This is a friend of Sarah Wondra. They are friends with each other on Facebook.
So she has a past dealing with children and doing bad acts on children. Now, she's out of jail now. She's free. She has been posting on her own Facebook. This is Jamie Burkhart. But she's involved with the Wondras. She's friends with them. And I think that's important considering that Michael Vaughan is still missing.
And JLR's onto something there. Ding, ding, ding. Throw up the red flags. Once again, how many creeps do these guys know?
And Fruitland Police Chief Huff has said others could be involved. What do you think? Not saying Jamie is involved with this case. I'm just pointing out what Jamie did.
So here you also hear Jamie's out of jail. Okay. Michael Vaughan is missing. These people know so many weirdos, so many different creeps. And you have to ask yourself, who is involved? I'm not pointing fingers at Jamie, but come on. Who else could be involved? There's so many. I'm so glad that I have faith in the Fruitland Police Department. Let me just... Emilio says, I hope he reported her Facebook page. RSOs not allowed on social media. Exactly. They're not. She shouldn't be on social media. She shouldn't even have one. But you know what? They always end up doing it. They always, it's all you got to do is make a fake profile.
In the past and is friends with Sarah Wondra. Subscribe to my channel, like, hit the notification.
JLR has done a great job investigating the Michael Vaughan case. I mean, to me, that's huge because I've really looked into all of these different RSOs and creeps that have been in, know the Wondras, hang out with them, go fishing with them, next door neighbors to them. It's disgusting. See, Cesar Garado put on his social media platform on Instagram the kind of young boys that he liked. That's one of their friends, somebody they knew, somebody they went fishing with. There's a picture of them all together in the car. These RSOs aren't just acquaintances. They're people that they know and hang out with. This is disgusting. It's just disgusting. I can't. We got to do better. Communities everywhere need to do better. We need to do better. We need to vote better. These RSOs, these pedophiles, just what can we do? Is what we need to keep asking ourselves. What can we do to stop them, to make sure that they're going in prison and staying in prison, not being released, to do it again, to be released, to do it again and be released, to do it again and again and again to be released. And then guess what happens? They're released until they're not, because they end up harming a child. Right? Until what they're doing doesn't satisfy them enough to the point where they do something worse for their own gratification. It's sickening. It's gross. Nobody wants to talk about it ever, but we have to keep talking about it. No matter how uncomfortable it makes us to talk about it, it has to be talked about, because you can get on sites, on social media, or on Google, and you can look up in your neighborhood. My daughter, my youngest daughter, and her husband, they look all the time in their little community where they live and make sure there's no RSOs in their neighborhood. I suggest you, if you have kids, do the same thing. Do the same thing. Where your kids live with you, or if you have kids that are having kids, talk to them about it. And don't forget to talk to your kids and your grandkids and get those ID kits made. The world isn't getting any better. And there seems to be more and more and more of these damn sickos out there. Protect the children. Do everything you can. If one pops up in your neighborhood, do something about it. Post their picture, flyer, whatever, all over the damn neighborhood. I don't know if you can get in trouble for that, get harassed by police or what, but I'm just telling you now. If one shows up in a neighborhood where my grandbabies are, I'm throwing a damn fit. I don't want them anywhere near my babies. And you walk past God knows how many of them. Every time you're out in public, there's always one lurking somewhere. Sorry, I'm going off on a rant. It's just sick. Exactly. Social media and now AI, it's frightening what is going to come if we don't push or put a stop to it. Don't leave your kids with anyone. Not in sports, not in church, not in school. Parents, volunteer with that your kids are involved in. So true, you guys. So true. Okay. Yep, you got to know who they are. You really do. Thank you so much, Rapper. I appreciate that. Yep, I am glad that Sarah and Stacy are locked up too. It's just they should never be out after the first time. If it is proven in court that one of the sickos, one of these RSOs, has hurt or harmed a child with that kind of predator mindset in any way, shape, or form, they should never be out of jail. Ever. Never. I don't believe that they can be rehabilitated. Yeah. How long is Fruitland, Idaho's children going to be at risk? Having Brandon Shirtliff running around Idaho. Yeah, there are a lot of them. And many people think that it could be a ring. All right. So let's move on to some other crazy facts before we get into Sarah Wandra's ex-husband talking about her wanting to kidnap people. You guys won't believe what he says. That's crazy. Here's my email address. If you need to reach out to me, please do. So these are some of Sarah's Facebook's posts. You guys can see Sarah Wondra, and in the background there is Monkey's flyer hanging up on their fridge. If you followed this case for a long time, I'm sure you've probably seen that Facebook post. Stacy Wondra updated his profile picture on July 31st, 2021. 4 days after Michael's abducted, Stacy Wondra, a suspect in Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder, had a profile picture. This picture wasn't something that was shared by family. It's not a flyer. It's a picture that everybody tried to figure out where he got the picture from. I believe, and I'm pretty sure I've been told, that this is a picture that was taken by Michael Vaughan's babysitter at the time, that she ended up sharing on social media, that Stacy ended up getting a hold of. If I'm correct. If I'm not, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that's where the picture came from. And then somebody here says, "Is that you, Stacy?" And he said, "No, this is a child that went missing in our neighborhood and has been gone for 5 days, and no one can find him. He is only 5 years old." And then, of course, you've got somebody replying to Stacy that knows he's now a victim, that says that, he's sick as F. How could you? You know y'all are going to burn in hell, right? You don't hurt / God's children. And then he shares another flyer down there at the bottom of Monkey. Stacy Wondra again, the day after Michael is abducted, he is sharing on his Facebook a link to the, what is it? The arduous, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, you guys got a tongue twister here. Arguousobserver.com. Fruitland Boy 5 missing since Tuesday night. They abducted Michael. He's posting about him on his social media the next day. Sarah Wondra posts on her Facebook November 1st of 2021. So this is just what? August, September, October, November. 4 months after Michael is abducted. She says, watch out. You are walking into traps. Guard your children. Take it from me, I promise. With a picture of a little girl with a sign that says help. Public schools are at the epicenter of America's values implosion. What is she even talking about? Watch out. You are walking into traps. Guard your children. Take it from me, I promise. What do you mean, take it from you, Sarah? What do you know about children? You don't have any. What is she even talking about? And I find this post really interesting. Hold on one second. Sorry. It is a post about her faith taxi. But guess what? After reading it, it doesn't even sound like she's the one who posted it. You guys are blowing up, chat. Do you remember the name of the institution Stacy was in Montana? I know it closed, but that was the name of it. I can't remember. Oh my gosh. I can't remember right now. I am so sorry. Yeah, take it from me. What is she talking about? Take it from her. Why? Beverly Lawyer says today you can't trust Mr. Rogers, right? You can't trust anybody with your children. And then you have all of these single parents that get together with men or women and invite them to come live with them in their house after they've only been seeing each other for a couple of weeks or a month or 2 months. You don't really know a person after that long. And you're bringing these people into your home where your children are, and bad things are happening. I'm not saying that all parents do it, but it is something that is happening. And we are seeing the results of more instances like this with our children. They do. They tell on themselves all the time, and they think they're so slick. Yes, we are going over some TikToks today, and we're going over Sarah Wandra's ex-husband coming into Josh from the labs. I just got a few Facebook posts I wanted to share. So in this Facebook post, she says, hey, this is Sarah Wondra, owner of Faith Taxi LLC in Fruitland, Idaho, etc. One thing is, so this is March 16th, 2022. They've renamed Faith Taxi is their new name. We are going to be rapidly growing. So please, if you have a car and are in the Treasure Valley, even all the way to Boise, I am going to be needing possible part-time drivers for now. Work on your own availability, use your own cars, keep your own proceeds on a 1099, be your own boss in a sense. We work a bit differently around here than your typical taxi. Please, no messages on this post about the job. If you want to inquire, please call Sarah directly. No text, any calls on this matter. No one gets approved without Sarah's approval to drive, although she is very fair. Have a nice day. It goes from making it sound like, hey, this is Sarah Wondra, to Sarah, no one gets approved without Sarah's approval to drive, although she is very fair. Does that sound to you guys like somebody else wrote this Facebook post? And this is March of 2022. Sarah went to jail sometime at the end of March or beginning of April, right? And this is March 16th. But Why the third person? Exactly, Jemima. Why the third person? Why is she talking in third person? Did somebody else write this Facebook, or was it her? I just thought it was just kind of weird. Mama B in the house. Thank you for coming. And this was the Faith Taxi stuff that got put up. Then before we get into this one, I want to add this one to the stage. This is another post by Sarah Wondra. Boy missing from around my neighborhood. Please help find him. August 2nd, 2021. So you have Sarah or Stacy Wondra sharing July 31st, and then she's sharing August 2nd, 2021. And don't forget, they all leave to go to Portland shortly after they're sharing these flyers, this information and stuff about Michael. I know law enforcement and I know other people are very interested about this Portland trip that they took. And then to get to what we're going to go over first tonight is this is from the lab. This is, oh my gosh, I cannot even read it. I have to pick up my phone for a second, y'all. It's too small for me to read. This is Wolf Chambers. I can't remember what Chambers' first name actually is, but this is Sarah Wondra's ex-husband from over 12 years ago. Shows up in Josh's chat from the lab, Josh Diaz, and says, I was contacted by Fruitland PD last year that let me see what this says. I was contacted by Fruitland PD last year that informed me about Michael going missing. So law enforcement has spoken to Sarah's ex-husband, and he shows up in chat. We love Josh from the lab here at Missing PNW. He's one of my most favorite people to watch when I actually get the chance to watch. He does an amazing job. He constantly has Dr. Gary and Chris Madonna on. It's a wonderful channel. Go over and subscribe to Josh. It's just an amazing man. He gets very emotional about these kids' cases too. I just absolutely love and adore Josh so much. So run over and subscribe. But that's what we're going over right now. I'm going to put this up and let's go over Sarah's ex-husband showing up in chat and what he had to say. Let me put the closed caption on. Let me look through chat real quick. I love Dr. Gary too, Beverly. He's an amazing man. So friggin' smart. Right. So I got my phone here. I can't see chat from inside the StreamYard studio. So I can't put anybody's message up into StreamYard, but I am looking to see what everybody's got to say. This is a 14-minute video and probably going to stop and add some commentary to it and stuff. So please, click that link for Josh. Go subscribe. You won't regret it, I promise. He's amazing. It says Sarah Wandra's ex-husband joins the show from the chat and had this to say about the time he spent with Sarah while married for just 6 months, almost 12 years ago. We appreciate you for joining.
Can I ask you about Sarah a little bit?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you coming up here, and so does everybody that's watching here.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a little bit about. So you don't know Stacy, but how long were you married to Sarah?
Briefly, it was like 6 months.
Okay, 6 months. And where are you from? Idaho as well?
No, sir. I was married to her when I lived in Texas.
Okay, because there was talk of her going to Texas.
Right.
Yeah. So okay. So
he lived in Texas, and Josh immediately picks up on that. Like, they took a trip to Texas. After Michael was abducted, it was like October of 2021. A lot of people find it very suspicious that, they took this trip to Texas. And the crazy thing is here is you already have him saying they were only married for like 6 months. Who gets married and then only is married for like 6 months?
So ultimately 6 months. How long were you guys together before that?
On and off, we knew each other for about 2 years.
Okay. And then you got married, and obviously no kids. I'm
No,
assuming
sir.
you didn't get your nuts crushed by a bull.
No, I actually have a son and a daughter, so my nuts are just fine.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So
thank you, sir.
If you don't mind, what ultimately led to the divorce?
Well, she had a meltdown about me not being able to give her any children because I wasn't trying to. And basically, she had me incarcerated under false accusations. And so I basically told her, I want you gone. I want a divorce. And inevitably, that's what happened.
And is that something you guys fought about a lot?
Well, our marriage was only 6 months, but no, sir, it wasn't a lot of fighting.
Yeah. So what she wanted you to give her a kid. Same thing.
Yes,
that you.
Chambers can't have kids. Sarah was getting upset, had a meltdown about the fact that she wasn't getting pregnant, but obviously Chambers, I didn't want to get her pregnant. So he did not even want to have kids with her. So it sounds like it was pretty rocky from the get-go.
You heard. And what is it? She just wanted to be a mother? I mean, was that it?
She had a daughter when she was 17 years old. The story she told me, I cannot confirm this to be true. I can only say what she told me. She said Ed and Kay Ramsey made her give her child up for divorce because they were not going to take care of her and her daughter.
Oh, you mean for adoption?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So here you have Chambers saying that Sarah has already had a child, had a daughter, and that her parents, the Ramseys, made her give up her daughter for adoption. Now, this is solely based off what Chambers is saying. We do not know if what Chambers is saying is true and correct. This is his side of the story. I just want to bring you this information that he is saying. You can spin your own opinions on it, theorize about it or whatever. But when it comes down to it, we don't know if what he says is fact. We just know this is Sarah's ex-husband saying all of these things. But here you have Chambers saying she had a daughter and the Ramseys made her put the baby up for adoption. And Sarah Suspicious says, I believe it. I'm not saying that I don't believe it. I believe Chambers too. He gave me no weird feelings that he was lying or anything. So in my opinion, I do believe Chambers, I just want everybody to know that, we don't know for 100% that everything he says is truthful.
So you can't confirm, but what she told you is that at one time she did have a child.
Yes, sir.
And he's saying that Sarah told him that she had this child and her parents made her put this child, her daughter, up for adoption.
Okay, but and you can't confirm that, and so let's just make that clear. And that she was forced to give up the daughter for adoption. Her parents made her do that?
Yes, sir. Her adoptive parents.
Okay. And do you know?
Donna's saying that she was on that line. I know me and Kelly were both in the comment section of this live. I remember watching it myself because I was like, oh snap, holy crap. I couldn't believe what he got up there and started talking about.
How old she was when that allegedly happened?
17.
Okay. Was she very religious?
So 17 years old when she gave her baby up for adoption, according to what Chambers said that Sarah told him.
No, absolutely not.
So that was kind of new. Okay, I got you. That's
yes,
all new.
sir. Very new.
And we're going to talk more about Sarah Wondra and her religious side when we get to her TikToks here shortly. But he is saying Sarah was not a religious person at all, and this is all new to him.
Okay. You think she's capable of what she's been accused of?
It's funny you asked me that because the detective did ask me what I thought about it. And I said, when it comes to kidnapping, yes, she is capable of it. I don't know if she's capable of murder. I can't say that she is.
She ever talk about kidnapping?
Yes.
With you,
that's one of the things that led to me saying "C'est la vie."
What? There you have Sarah's ex-husband saying, that's one of the reasons why I said "C'est la vie, I'm out of here," was because Sarah talked about kidnapping people to her ex-husband over 12 years ago. Now, this interview, he said he had been with Sarah for 12 years. So now it's 13 years ago. Sarah Wondra was talking about kidnapping people. The look on Josh's face right here, y'all. Do you see that look? Like, what the hell did he just say? Yeah, a pretty shocking thing for somebody to say. And he had already spoken to law enforcement about Sarah.
So she wanted to kidnap a kid.
No. She just talked about kidnapping in general, never anything about children.
So he wanted to confirm whether or not it was a child. And Chambers was like, no. She just talked about kidnapping in general, never anything about children. So she talked about kidnapping people, but she wasn't specifically talking about kidnapping children. Does that even matter? Do you guys sit around talking about kidnapping people? I don't. That doesn't come into conversation. Who does that? You know what? I would just like to kidnap somebody sometime. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put that kind of fear into somebody else? It's like a power, a control thing or something she was fantasizing about or something. Sarah's definitely sounds like there was a problem. They didn't want to take care of the baby and her, and she's 17. So it doesn't sound like she was that self-efficient at 17. Exactly, Kelly. Probably not.
Wow. And what would she say?
Oh, well, she would talk about mainly just, how it would be interesting to have someone to go into some stranger's house and basically take control of them. be able to tie them up. And I told her, I said, you need to seek professional help. That's not normal.
Wow, let's just listen to that again. She would basically just talk about kidnapping people to control them and talk about tying them up.
And basically take control of them, to have someone just, how it would be interesting to.
How it would be interesting? What's interesting about putting that kind of fear into somebody else? What's interesting at all about it? What's interesting about tying somebody up? I'm not interested in anything like that. I don't know people that would be interested in that. At least I hope and pray. I don't know anybody that would want to do anything like that. But what does she find so interesting about it? There's an obsession here. It almost makes you wonder if kidnapping Michael was Sarah's idea. Because everybody wants to think it was Adrian's, but maybe it was actually Sarah's. Who knows? You have her 13 years ago talking about wanting to tie up somebody and kidnap them, and Michael Vaughan was basically tied up with duct tape. Sorry, everybody, that sounds very blunt, but that's the fact.
To have someone to go into some stranger's house and basically take control of them, be able to.
And to go into a stranger's house. So she talked about going into a stranger's house and basically taking control of them. What a power trip.
To tie them up. And I told her, I said, you need to seek professional help. That's not normal.
No, it is not normal. Thank you, Chambers, for suggesting her to get professional help. I don't know that she ever did. It's just so weird. This is just, every time I've listened to this, it has definitely been so strange to me to know that Sarah Wondra wanted to walk into a stranger's house, tie them up, and take control over them. Then what? That's my question. Then what?
Wow. I mean, that is, yeah, you're right. That's not normal. And you just must, I mean, were you just shocked by that?
I was scared by that.
Josh is like, I mean, were you scared? Were you shocked by that? And he said, I was scared by that. And the way that Chambers says it, it scared him that Sarah Wondra talked about kidnapping people.
And was this towards the end of your marriage?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that she would cover up an accident? Like say something went wrong when they were kidnapping Michael, and say it wasn't intentional homicide or whatever, say it wasn't that. Could you see her covering that up?
Yes, sir.
So he believes, Sarah's ex-husband believes that Sarah would cover up something that could have happened. And we've talked about Brandon binding Michael with duct tape. And if, Michael could have suffocated or something on the duct tape, if it was an accident, or was it something on purpose? And would Sarah cover it up? Would Stacy cover that up? He thinks that Sarah would cover it up. And I think they were all involved with taking Michael when it comes to knowing and having knowledge of his abduction. They all know what happened. Stephanie Murray says, what a weirdo. She is a weirdo. She's very violent. She's very strange and unusual. She's mentally unstable. I mean, when you are a menace, when you are getting charges in Oregon for being a menace is somebody who threatens people. She's very threatening. She ran that house. She was queen bee, controlling all the men that came in and out of that house, controlling who came in and out of that house, controlling all of the companies, all of the scams, in my opinion, in that house. Money maker.
She ever abusive towards you?
Yes, sir.
And Chamber even says that she was abusive to him. And we know Stacey Wondra has said the same.
So, because I've heard reports that she would hit Stacy with like pots and pans and things like that.
I've been beaten by that woman before.
And Chambers actually used the word beaten. I've been beaten by that woman before.
Wow.
And I mean, I don't want to seem agitated or anything, but I'd rather not talk about it. It's just not something I want to relive.
I don't blame you.
And I know Josh from watching his show. I mean, and I've watched lots of his shows, lots of his live streams, and I'm just going to say, I can tell how shocked Josh is during this whole interview right here that he's doing with Chambers, because Josh is a little caught off guard with the fact that Sarah Wondra talked about kidnapping people 13 years ago.
Not a problem at all. You don't want to answer a question. You don't want to talk about something. That's totally fair. I appreciate you coming up and even talking. So Sarah was talking about kidnapping with you, had talked about kidnapping, and you were just totally thrown off by the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
And you wanted and you initiated the divorce.
Yes, sir, I did.
Was it not that it matters, but was it an annulment or a divorce?
It was a divorce.
And how did she take the news when you wanted to divorce?
A meltdown, of course. As a matter of fact, I was incarcerated at the time that I told her about it, and the deputies had to escort her out of the building because she was causing a disturbance.
She's in there, sounds like visiting Chambers while he's in jail. She's telling her, I want a divorce. And being the person that Sarah is, not giving an F about who's around her, what's going on, throws a damn fit, has a meltdown to the point where, you know, she's causing some huge disturbance. And that does not surprise me at all. None of these suspects have any respect for law enforcement, rules, anything like that.
In the jail?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so she has a temper.
Absolutely.
But she never talked about God with you or anything like that?
No, sir. I'm not really what you would call religious. I do believe in God, but I'm just not a Bible thumper.
Right. And so was it news to you when you found out that she was now?
Yes, it actually was. It was a huge shock.
But were you surprised at all when you heard that she was a suspect in this case?
I really was. I wasn't expecting anything like that to spill on my doorstep because, you know, the time the detective had contacted me, I had just found out that I was going to be a father with my firstborn, my son.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, Rizzo. Good to see you, hon.
Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay. So you had just found out that you were going to be a father. Was she ever around any of your children?
No, sir. It's been over 12 years since I've known her.
So even 12 years ago, she had mentioned kidnapping. Was it more than once?
Yes, sir. It was on numerous occasions. That's why I said, you know, I need to get away from this woman.
So Josh asks him, was it just once? He says, no. She said this on numerous occasions. So Sarah just wasn't, you know, talking about it one time, letting it go or whatever. She talked about it a lot. She talked about it so much that it scared him. She talked about it so much that he divorced her. I mean, he was scared of Sarah. She was abusive. This 6-month relationship didn't go too well. They knew each other for 2 years. What would you do if the person that you've known for 2 years and got married to them 6 months ago, or, when did she start talking about it? 2 months in, 3 months into their marriage? What would you do if the person you married started talking about wanting to kidnap somebody? They do it just once, and then you're just like, what the hell are you talking about? You're a weirdo. What? First, you're shocked. Maybe you move on. Maybe. But then they start doing it numerous times. Yeah, I'm outie. No, I'm out. That would creep me out. Matter of fact, I would almost be scared to leave them, because at that point, it's like, what are they capable of? You know what I mean?
Good Lord. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Josh there, good Lord. Okay, wow. Like, he's so shocked. I don't think he knew Sarah for 12 years. This happened 13 years ago. He said in the beginning of this that they knew each other for 2 years. Something's not mathing. What was he in for? I believe Sarah accused him of abuse, and that's why he ended up in jail. If I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that 100% though, because I'm not sure. Mama B's like, I would call and turn them in myself. Right? Yeah, I thought he said 2 years too, in the very, very beginning of it.
Did she ever try to get you to do anything like that with her?
No, sir.
Yeah. Not that you would have went along with it anyway, but a lot of people's theory is that she was the ringleader of what was going on, and that people kind of were just going along with what she did.
I can
Now,
see that. I honestly can, because she always had to be in control of the situation when it comes to anything.
So Chambers found her quite controlling and needing to be in control of anything, which is what we have always heard about Sarah. Wanting to be in control, needing the control, getting pissed when she didn't have control.
Yeah. But she never specifically mentioned kidnapping a child.
No, it was never a child. It was just she, like I said, she's a.
And Jemima is saying, yes, got him locked up. And I believe he said something to that effect at the beginning of this, that she lied and reported something to the police and he ends up in jail. And then while he's in jail, she comes to visit, they divorce.
The control freak. So,
even here being called a control freak. Like I said, she's a control freak.
I guess she would let it slip, or maybe that's just something she gets off on, but she would always bring up kidnapping a person and having control over them. She has to be in control.
And that's what you dealt with as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And a temper when things didn't go her way.
Yes, sir.
Was she a hard worker? I mean, was she a neat freak? What was she? What was she like in the house?
No
Was
job.
she respectful of people?
And sat on her butt. No, sir. She had no respect for anyone.
So she was.
And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. She has no respect, not for law enforcement, not for anybody. Sarah does what Sarah wants to do, period. She doesn't care who it affects. This woman is a violent woman. and obviously has some serious issues.
Was rude to people in your presence.
Yes, sir.
Did she ever meet your parents?
She met my mother. My
And when-
father is passed. So I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that. What did your mother think of her?
She did not like her one bit.
Just saying, gotta listen to your mama. Gotta listen to your mama, boys. If your mama doesn't like your new wife, you gotta pay attention. I don't know, just joking. Some mamas don't like any of their daughter-in-laws. Just saying.
She said that I made a mistake. And I agree with my mother. I did make a mistake.
Yeah. Who hasn't made a mistake before? I mean, I'm glad that you got away from that situation, because it just sounds horrible. But so she didn't like, did she like your mother?
She pretended to, but then after she was not around my mother, she would disrespect her, which also upset me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So she would just say bad things about your mom, and she was just disrespectful, which is funny because I don't know if you saw, but I had a conversation with Stacy.
Yes, sir. I saw it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And he's not, and then I had a conversation with him off the air. He's not exactly a loving, tender touch. Okay.
Right.
And it almost seems like they're kind of peas in a pod that way, but it still sounds like Sarah ran the show.
Yes, sir.
Now, and if you don't want to answer these questions, don't. Was there ever any infidelity on her part?
The only one that I'm aware of is once I was incarcerated. So we were still legally married. There was a guy at the gas station up the road from where we live.
Of course there was a guy, right? Of course there was a guy. When wasn't Sarah boinking somebody else? She was boinking the guys in the house when her own husband was in the house in Fruitland. Her husband goes to jail. She's boinking a guy at the gas station. No surprise there.
That told me that they were in having intercourse with each other while I was incarcerated.
And you believed that to be true?
I can't say that it is or isn't. It's just mighty funny how, Stacy says he was messed around on. I was told that I was messed around on, so I'm just putting two and two together.
Right. This must be a trip for you, man.
It is.
Yeah. It's really weird, you never you get a phone call one day from detectives and you're like, holy crap. Did you only talk?
Isn't that so true? Here you are, somebody's ex-husband, and one day you get a phone call from Fruitland Police Department. Oh, by the way, your ex-wife is a suspect in an abducted child's case. And not just abducted, murdered. 5-year-old boy, Michael Joseph Vaughan. Oh my God. And knowing that wife had talked to you about kidnapping people before and wanting to tie them up. My question is still, though, and then what? What was Sarah's plan after? What did she want to do? Walk into a stranger's house, tie them up, take control. Take control how? Then what? Abuse them? Torture them? Do something like some kind of S abuse? Eventually be rid of them altogether? I mean, she wasn't just going to tie them up and then turn around and walk out of the house, right? Because they've seen her. She'd end up in jail. then what? I want to know more here. I want to know what else Sarah wanted to do after the fact.
Talk to the detectives the one time.
Yes, sir. They only called me once.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he told them kind of. I mean, honestly, the kidnapping thing is just crazy for her to even bring that up. And that's what you said 12 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that she has? I mean, I'm sort of aware that she has a mental illness. Did you ever recognize if she did or not?
I did. Like I said, the meltdowns were not normal. I mean, people get upset all the time. You have your ups and downs, but I mean, when it's an extreme, that's a time to sit down and talk with someone and see about getting some professional help.
You know, Stacey Wondra has described her as being bipolar. It sounds like she could have been. I mean, when you're having emotions that go up and down, I mean, it sounds a little bit manic to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Did she ever mention to you that she had been diagnosed with anything?
She said bipolar. That's all I remember.
Then did she
Oh, and then you have Chambers here saying that she was bipolar.
take medicine or anything for that?
No, sir.
No medicine. Okay. Um, so she claims to be bipolar, and I don't know what her medical record is or not, and she very well could be. Probably. I mean, it sounds like there's some issues, and kind of the bipolar kind of does progress sort of the older you get, and if it's left untreated. So maybe these delusions of grandeur that she's having and the kidnapping stuff. I mean, that is extremely pertinent information.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, I'm just doing anything I can help. I just don't want to interfere in any way. And like I was trying to tell everyone in the comment section, I don't know Stacy, so I don't know how I can be of much help to the case. My only concern is Tyler and Brandy getting their son back. That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
Yeah, and I mean, and since then, like Chambers' comments are no longer in the comment section because I looked. And yeah, no comments. It's just a very strange and unusual thing to know that Sarah Wondra had an obsession 13 years ago with wanting to kidnap people, and here she is, a suspect in an abduction of a 5-year-old boy. Michael Vaughan was abducted July 27th, 2021. It's just crazy to know that her ex-husband's saying this isn't, he's pretty much saying, yep, I already know this. Being involved in it is just wow to me. So give me 1 minute and I will be right back. Please stay with me. I need to excuse myself for just a moment, okay? I'll be right back. All right. Sorry, everybody. So sorry. So now we're going to go over the TikToks that I had recorded before. We'll just go over them one after another, add some commentary to it, talk about them. I think there's like 13 minutes of it. Yeah, Jemima actually sent me a clip of Sarah's boss calling into the Dolly Vision channel. That was kind of interesting. All right, let me see what's in chat here. Thank you guys all for coming in. It really is just a very short clip inside Dolly Vision. Thank you so much, Eve, and thank you for always sharing. I appreciate that so much. It's so important to share, Monkey. Let me just look real quick. Hold on. I know that it was just a really short clip. Jemima, could you tell me, did Dolly Vision do like a little short or a video of him coming in, or is it on his show? Exclusive jail call, Sarah Wondra, Sarah's ex-boss, YouTube. Let me see if I can find it and we'll just go over it now. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with me, because it is just a really small clip, and I don't mind sharing it now at all. Let's see. Exclusive jail call, Sarah Wondra. It's on Dolly Vision. Okay, I just need to find... Ooh, I had it on there. Hold on one second, guys. I'm just listening to this, trying to find the spot right now. Okay, yep, I got it. So, hold on one second and we can put it up. Oh, thank you, Sarah, so much. I had already had it to the part because Jemima had already sent it to me. I just had to go look over on my messenger and find it. It's just a really super short, like, clip here. And it's, can somebody please put Dolly Vision up in chat, please? I want to make sure that he gets credit. Okay, so let me share my screen and let's hear what Sarah Wondra's boss had to say about her. Let me put all my closed captions. So here, all the credit goes to Dolly Vision. Oh, it is longer on Dolly's? Do you know if he put out a video, Jemima, on just the phone call and what he had to say? Well, let's see what it has to say. Let's just go over it.
Oh my God, it was so sad.
Dolly, PJ.
What's up, Dolly?
Hey, who's this? Where you calling from?
It's Mike.
Hey,
How's
Mike.
it going?
It's going pretty good, Mike. So you wanted to call in?
Yeah, so Sarah, I've been kind of following this on and off. So she used to work for me in Boise for maybe 2-3 years.
Uh-huh.
She's definitely a weird chick for sure. And Stacy used to come to work with her because he didn't want to work. Obviously, you guys can tell he's lazy.
Yeah.
And we just sit in the car all day while she worked. She was in the call center.
Wow.
Oh,
in
okay.
downtown Boise. And but they were always, so I called it in. I was like, just a heads up to the police. I was like, they would always go down to Montana all the time, back and forth.
Uh-huh.
That's where, but I never heard back. I left a tip, just kind of said, hey, she worked on me. You know, there's a couple creepy things that I saw from them.
So he's saying that he saw some creepy things by Stacy and Sarah, and that Stacy is lazy and would show up and be there while Sarah was working, and that she worked for him for like 3 years, and that Sarah and Stacy were always taking trips to Montana. And we know his parents were living up there.
But yeah, so anyways, I just mentioned in chat that, you know, I didn't know her out of work, obviously, but
Yeah.
and at the time they were living
And didn't know Sarah out of work. And I think that's important too.
with her parents. I don't know if they must have bought them that house afterwards or
Well,
what.
her mom owned
Her
that
mom
house.
owned the house they were staying in too.
Yeah, so I'm so sure they.
Yeah, but before that, they were living with the mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. So here he's saying the boss of Sarah, you know, a few years back or whatever, actually is saying that they were living with Sarah's parents before moving into Sarah's parents' house. They're at 1102 Red Wing in Fruitland.
Okay.
So I think they must have bought that same house in the neighborhood.
Yeah, the mom lives in the same neighborhood.
I actually found out today that Sarah's parents also own Carson and his wife's house that was next door to the Wondras, the RSOs. I mean, I'm not renting to a registered S offender. I'm not going to do that. So that kind of shows even Sarah's parents' character. Right, Angel Girl? Thank you for coming in. Shaking my head. Who goes to work with their spouse, right? She started stalking the boss, and Stacy was conning people. Oh, wow.
And she would sneak him in at night.
Ew.
But yeah, he's just, I mean, just watching the videos, that dude's a complete piece of shit.
Oh,
Did
my
she
God.
She would go to the gas station, pardon my mouth, well, she was at work and go say that his wife is in labor just to get them gas money.
Oh my
Like,
God.
just,
Oh my gosh. So Stacy would hang out at the gas station saying that Sarah was in labor just to get money. Panhandling. We've heard about this before. This is great information because we have heard people talk about Stacy panhandling for money. Some people are wondering when they went to go to the gas station on their way to Cuna, if one of the reasons why Stacy doesn't want to talk about stopping and getting gas is because he was standing there trying to, you know, get money from people for gas to make it to Cuna. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying there are people out there that have wondered that. So here we have Sarah's boss talking about him panhandling for money, lying to people to get money.
Go up to
God.
random hey people.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the only creepy thing with her was, and I never could prove it was her, because she always tell other people that that she liked me and this and that. Well, one time I get this letter in the mail, weirdest thing ever, but I don't know if it was her. That's the problem. And it's like almost like lyrics and music, but the letter, my name was typed, so you couldn't read the handwriting on the postage or anything. Because I kept hearing all this stuff at work all the time, but she would never say anything directly to me. She's kind of actually a pretty quiet gal. I don't know if you can tell that, but she's.
It's all right. This actually could be longer than what I anticipated it to be, but I don't mind that. We can go over the TikToks. I mean, after we go through this, or we can do the TikToks another time. But going through this is actually good information, so I don't mind if it's a little bit longer to my men. It's perfectly fine.
She's kind of reserved.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I get this thing in the mail, and it was kind of about this lost love thing, but it was around the same time this was all going on at work. But usually you would write on the envelope the person's name. It was like hand typed, so you couldn't even tell. But yeah, I think my theory on the whole thing is, I think, at first I kind of was thinking about it. It's like, the thing that gets me is they're both incredibly stupid people. So that's the only thing that's like, okay, how have they gotten away from this long?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the thing that blows my mind, because there's something not right.
I mean, she played straight crazy. Did you see when?
I mean, writing, if it was her, he said, writing him like lyrics to a song, like what? Was she obsessed with him, in love with him or something? That's kind of strange. Dolly and PJ are like, at the same time, like, keep talking. Right? Like, that's what I would be doing. Like, all right, come on up. Like, talk. You got to keep them talking, right?
She went to court and said her name was Stacy.
But yeah, she would tell people at work her name's different. Yeah. No, I know the whole thing, but why haven't they been arrested?
They're in jail now.
But not related to that.
Yeah, right, but they don't have a body.
All their other BS.
Right. I believe they know that they can hold them, and that's where they're at right now, and that they're trying to find the body. And the news said yesterday that somebody else in the case was talking after the drop on the video from yesterday, and I believe that's Brandon, because he incriminated Brandon and said if the baby wasn't in the backyard, that he was at Brandon's. Did she do the same finger thing with the pen and the stuff in between?
Yeah, so when she was on the phone, she would do that.
Oh,
that was the first time I ever heard that. But she would talk in like weird languages and try to like have like pet names and
would talk in weird languages. What is he talking about? She would have pet names. He was saying that she would use other names and stuff for herself. What's all about that? And what about languages and stuff? Is he talking something about like the religious tongues or something? Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Funny thing, she'd wear this hat that said babe on it, like a beanie.
Yeah, she's
and obviously she's not a babe.
She's not a babe. No, definitely not a babe.
Oh, well.
But yeah, so I got a call when the whole thing hit the news. I'm actually in Maryland now, but I lived there forever, and I was their sales manager. She's actually a pretty good salesperson, because you can kind of be whoever you want her to be,
Yeah. She seems like
but he would just sit in the car and try to hustle people out in the parking lot for money, and then
sit out in the car and try hustling people for money outside her job. And she's like some kind of sales rep or something, and was good at her job, but like in the parking lot hustling people for money. When were they not hustling for money? And why did they always need money? More money, more money, more money. Sounds like they were always getting money. It's just weird. And like not even wanting to hold down a real job from what it sounds like because they're always hustling. And if she was working at a job, why is he panhandling on the corner? Or at a gas station, I mean.
And all of a sudden he pops on. And but watching his interview, he knew that boy wasn't still in that backyard. He was doing that so he could get out of the jail cell. He could get out of the jail cell, get attention. He wasn't in isolation and think that he could get something. Everything that dude does is self-driven.
Yeah, I believe so.
You know,
and they seem like con artists. You know.
Yeah.
To me,
but see, they didn't have any of the taxi business or any of that. You know, it was always a very tumultuous thing. But they were always going back. So that I think that boy's either in Montana because he had, you know, that's where he's from. So
they did.
You know,
they took a trip to Montana. He talks about it in one of his interviews.
They would go back there a lot. But this was before that. And then didn't they go somewhere like the week after Michael died to Oregon
to go pick up a dog?
Yeah, they went to pick up a couple different dogs for some reason.
They went to Oregon. Yeah, to go like pick up or deliver a dog, which ended up being like on the border of Oregon and California. We talked about that on Tuesday. They went to Portland. They went down to Texas. They were going to Las Vegas. They were going to Montana. They were always traveling everywhere, all the time.
Reason.
So, and then obviously there's stories that day doesn't match up at all. Like she said, you know, but then he started talking about Brandon. The whole thing just blew because I've thought about it. Just, you know, obviously knowing them in that detail. I mean, he's got the IQ of a 1-year-old. I mean, him to get away with this long, there's just something I just can't put my finger on.
I mean, you have that criminal element in the neighborhood, and not only that is they're hanging out with people. The one dude, he's alleged to be involved in sex trafficking.
His name on social media was Adrian Lucian at one point. I mean,
and he played basketball. He played basketball at CSI, which is a pretty big basketball junior college, and then he must have gone kind of crazy.
And now he's.
And Adrian Lucian didn't just play basketball. He mastered basketball. Mastered it. He was a phenomenal basketball player. The guy never missed the basketball hoop. He could have seriously been famous for playing basketball. And he gave up it all for what? A thug life? Come on. Gave it all up. For nothing. What a waste. What a waste.
He's like homeless or something, basically living like he's homeless.
I thought he was living in DC.
He's living in DC, but he's like, it's like he I don't know. It's hard to explain.
But where did they all come together? One day all four of them say we're going to kidnap and kill a kid. That's the part that's just.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's probably maybe Stacy did it because he wasn't screwing Sarah and got jealous of Brandon. And then maybe they all helped him cover it up.
Did you hear the interview?
I'm sure he was sleuthing around, Kelly, because he knew Sarah. And then she, becomes a prime suspect in Michael's abduction. So he's probably looking all over, reading everything there is to know about the case and everything because, if I knew something was getting involved like that, or if you did, we're sleuths, we'd be doing the same thing, right?
The conversation he had with the channel where Brandy came up and talked to Stacy, and Stacy told Brandy that he knows he has felonies, but he doesn't have any sex related crimes. So therefore,
and there's no sex. Nobody had ever said he did anything
sexual.
Right.
Yeah, he just brought up.
He says little things that he doesn't realize that he's saying that he's giving. He thinks he's smart, but he's not.
Yeah,
And they're talking about when Stacey Wondra came up on my panel with Brandy.
He was totally playing those cops that day in the jail.
Yeah,
because he was trying to talk to his
mom. The house and being nosy, what's still in there? Oh, what's that? Is that my mail?
Yeah.
He didn't care about that kid.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
I just feel like he was playing them. They had to play along just to try to hopefully get him to get some closure for those poor people.
Yeah, that's kind of why I had the conversation I had.
To see if
say anything that would be helpful, but she didn't really. I
And
mean,
you know, what's the chances of them crazy people living in the neighborhood and somebody else doing this crime? Right?
Yeah, over in Fruitland, there's nothing. Initially, everybody in the area thought, because, you know, a lot of times the kids in that valley, because they have a lot of those creeks out back they use for irrigation, kids will go in there and drown, you know, but then they find them a week later.
Well, yeah,
they
they had the
live.
splash pad.
The
irrigation canals.
Their house was
Pardon me.
lived right on the Snake River too. So I mean,
Right.
they were a block.
Yeah, I saw when you were down there, Dolly. Didn't you come down there?
Yeah, yeah. So they're a block from
Yeah.
the Snake River, directly
So I
behind
think
their
that's
house.
what everybody initially thought, you know, hey, that's what happened. They didn't know they had these people that were basically using their house as a flop house, essentially, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they got, so just some random dude that could pipe his wife and maybe help pay some. I don't even think any of them were working, really.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so strange. That is just really odd.
But where does it all, Dolly, where do you think it all comes together? Do you think, I mean, they're all sitting around, hey, let's go kidnap a kid?
I mean, I don't know
You know what I
how they came to
That's
that
the part that I can't
conclusion.
put my finger on.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how that all transpired unless he's been in the kids and maybe he said some things.
No,
And,
but we got it all from Adrian having the connection to the trafficking, and then the Michael just happened to get out that day. I don't think they were casing the area finding freaking kids. I think it just was like
PJ holds the same opinion that I do. I don't think that they were out there just stalking, looking, you know, to try to get some kind of kid, trying to get a child. I think they were actually talking about maybe S trafficking or grabbing some kind of a young lady or something and having them be like the lady of the night kind of a deal. And, you know, one of them saw Michael and thought, oh, maybe we can do it this way. I do not think that their original plan was to take a child.
crime of opportunity, but then from
And then,
there,
but they're all involved. You know what I mean? But they're all sitting in the living room. Yeah, hey.
well, they would have been
let's
all
go
involved.
grab
They were
them.
going to be
I
all.
mean, I don't know how people like that.
They were going to be all involved in robbing prostitutes and robbing men, setting up fake.
So maybe they had a way to,
So
with all the sexual trafficking of children, maybe they thought, oh, we could make $1 million off this kid, and it goes wrong.
yeah, and then they got the kid. He's screaming, crying, out of control, and then something bad has happened. Maybe that's what's the thought. We can make some, because everything seems to be about money driven today.
Money.
Right?
for the
Yeah,
longest
you said that.
for the longest time they tried to make it seem like Sarah had always wanted a kid all her life, and like that this was something that they did, and like for Sarah, like that they just found it.
Definitely, like just a crime of opportunity. Evil Alaska, thank you for coming in. Says, in my opinion, they were shopping for a victim. Exactly. Dynamite, thank you for coming in. Yeah, this is just, and of course, you know, my opinion with PJ on the fact that they weren't looking for a child doesn't mean that I have the same opinion with everything that they are saying. I just want to say that. Not sure how much longer this goes, but it doesn't sound like this boss is continuing to talk about Sarah personally and what he knows, but I want to continue watching and see what else he says.
This random kid they were going to give her like a gift or something, and I never bought that. I'm like, they
Yeah,
don't
like a
care
kid
that
ain't going
much.
to just let you be its mama.
No.
You know?
Yeah. Well, she's a very quiet, like kind of like a recluse. So it's weird, really weird to see that she was like this queen bee in this house. But, you know, I think that's why she was picking the kind of people she was picking who
That's
she could
exactly
control.
why. That's exactly
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, just any.
Right. Somebody who's actually.
He describes Sarah as being very quiet, which is kind of shocking to me because I just don't see her as a quiet person. I see her as like more like a loudmouth. But maybe that's because of, you know, she's only a loudmouth. She's only the queen bee when she's around the people that she can control and everything else. And when she gets into an area like a workspace or, you know, in the public's eye or being out in public, maybe she's a little bit more shy, a little bit more, which all could be part of her bipolar disorder and mental issues that she has, because you don't have that confidence to be, you know, the person you would normally be when you're out in public, because she was probably always worried about what people thought about her. And that's just something that kind of goes with bipolar disorder and being a manic person.
So you got a job or a place to live, they're not going to let
Any
them
low life
snap
that
you
would
with a
have
stick.
her, you know.
But she,
Exactly.
in the convo we just had, she said, and this is exactly how she picked up the other people. Like, oh, Tanner was just a random taxi customer from before that suddenly was homeless that she went and it's like she went out and picked up stray homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, where do you find these
Well,
people?
it was like PJ. I thought you were getting ready to get to it, right? What happened that day that caused the big fit that she got that assault charge and got the drug charges, right? Was it the grill got me? Because I think you were going there.
I was going there.
The subject.
Yeah. She kept
right?
changing the subject, and then
Because something happened that blew up that day.
They wanted to use the
right?
grill.
This is what I think Stacy had told the story, and that
this I do not believe that Michael was under the grill. I do not know that they got in a fight over the fact that Tanner, wanted to move the grill, that Michael was underneath there, caused this huge fight. That's not something I believe. When Sarah and Stacy both describe Michael being in their backyard, neither of them say close to the patio. That yard was dug 3 to 4 feet down, the entire thing. Nothing's ever been mentioned about the spot underneath that grill except for by certain creators and by Stacy. And that's why creators talk about it, is because Stacy Wondra mentioned something about this grill. It gets taken out of content. Some rumor starts that maybe Michael was under the grill.
Tanner wanted to use the grill, and
yeah,
because she says just when you brought that Tanner thing up, she answered the house, and then then it just went away, and I was like, oh, PJ's going there.
Because
I think that's the key. Whatever happened that day, because that's what turned the events, I think, and got them on these people. I think they probably saw Stacy on the cameras, right? That's how they initially got onto them.
No,
right?
they said Brandon.
Oh, that walking that day.
Yeah, that was Brandon with the shorts and the cut off shirt.
But didn't they see him at the splash pad?
Yes,
right?
they saw Stacy at the splash pad.
Is that how they? And then they said, "Who's this guy walking?" And this dude's at the splash pad, and then they all realized they lived together.
Yep.
And then they had this big blow up in the house.
Brandon wasn't walking at the splash pad, though. Brandon was walking in the neighborhood next to the splash pad, not at the splash pad, from what I understand.
And then they're obviously on the radar because it's right down the street.
I think Brandon is the one that grabbed Monkey, but he grabbed him for them.
But why?
Got it.
Because he's the most
I wonder if they
athletic.
were fall fighting like, oh, you really want her? I'll go get you a kid. There's a kid, or who knows? I mean,
It's like
us
you ever seen the movie Raising Arizona?
Yeah.
With Nicolas Cage, like, get me that baby, and he puts the ladder up there, and it's all the damn twins, and he grabs one.
That's the part I can't blow my mind because I see they're all idiots, but are they all four criminals like that? I've had friends that are low lives, but they're not going to go grab a kid in front of me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with.
Hey, Rogue, thank you for coming in, and thank you for that. I really wish that you were the only one that did the interviews for the Michael Vaughan case. Thank you so much for saying that. I do believe that Brooks did an amazing job, though, with Stacy Wondra. I'm just going to say she kept him talking, and she did whatever she could do to keep him talking, to keep recording him, to keep talking. And I do appreciate her for that. Yeah, this does go on for a lot longer, and it sounds like more of opinions than any information. Do you guys want to keep moving on? Put a 1 in chat if you guys want to keep listening to what this guy has to say. If I don't get at least 5 or 6 ones, we're just going to pause right here and get into the TikToks. One, 2, 3, 4. 5. All right, you guys, we'll keep moving forward. All right, let's keep watching then.
With that, I know some pretty bad people that wouldn't do no shit like that.
They were all
Anyway,
comfortable with each other enough to be able to know that, like,
they
you
would
wouldn't
rob
freak
somebody
out.
before
They
they
were all
kidnap
sleeping
a
together.
kid. Yeah, they were all sleeping. They had a weird thing going on in that house, and wow, you know.
Yeah, I just hope more than anything they pay for what they did. I think Stacy's the key, though. I think he's the head instigator, probably. Maybe Brandon, because he was walking on that street. That was him. You could tell.
Yeah.
Have you
And
seen?
he hasn't talked right since JLR talked to him. He won't talk to anybody or what?
We tried to get a hold of him, and we had a number for him, and we kept calling this dude. The dude said it was him.
I got him up on my panel. So this must have been before that. So this has been a while back, but I got Brandon up on panel. He had talked to so many different creators, text messaging them and everything else. And yeah, thanks to Dan Guthrie, I was able to get him up and basically talk him into coming up.
Yeah.
And what it was a kid has his number. And then the kid said, look, I've been messing with y'all for
I
like
think it was his
2
brother.
weeks. He's like,
I don't know.
I'm not him. But we tried to
I
get a
talked
hold
to
of
a
him for
family
while.
friend of his for a while, and he was like, I'm trying to convince him to come talk. And then he did finally move back to Idaho because he was in a whole different state for a minute. I had
Yeah, he
tabs
was
on
like, remember when he was pounding those beers? He was like in Montana or North Dakota or something.
Yeah, in the hot tub, which was weird in itself.
I had tabs on Brandon for a minute.
Yeah, this is all speculation. And yep, in his JLR interview, North Dakota, at his dad's house.
And then his family friend was like, all right, I'm gonna get Tina to call him, and then we'll get back to you. And then, like, I was kind of being a little annoying about it, and then I kind of just let it go. But he finally came back to Idaho, and then he had charges that he had to face for like drug possession or something. And then I would have thought they would have drilled him then when he went in for that, but it's like they didn't. I don't know. But
was there ever a
what
huge
she said to
reward?
you
I
was
can't
pretty
remember.
telling too. She can tell she loves that dude.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't even be around him because I want him. And maybe that's what blew it all up, you know, in some sick, twisted way. Obviously, Michael Vaughan's bored out there playing.
Yeah.
Not expecting some nasty people to grab him. And maybe they're having some big argument, you know, because he couldn't get her pregnant because, you know, he was a bull rider. We all know that's bullshit. He's never even had a job. But I think if he needed to cover up a murder, he could do a shovel hole to put a kid in though.
Yeah, he can't dig a hole.
He kept going
with
back
them.
to that too. You know, I can't mow a lawn. He kept reiterating that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he's not
You know I
physically in
can't do
shape
that.
to
But
do
then
that.
when he said that
Fetal alcohol syndrome.
yeah, but no, when he said that
Right.
he was watching them dig a hole, he actually didn't say them. He said, I watched her dig a hole, and then he corrected himself and said them. So I think she's the one that really actually did dig the hole, honestly. Have you seen
Again, this is all speculation by the two of them. Stacy Wondra in his confession footage said that Sarah and Adrian dug the hole in the Wondra's backyard that they put Michael Vaughan in.
Yeah.
either of them get angry or violent or have any kind of outburst that would make you think that?
Not really. You know, she was just kind of that silent, stab you behind your back kind of quiet. Like I said, she would like, I had no idea that she even like, you know, I was her boss. I was the sales manager, and she was just would do, she was doing debt settlement. So people, you know, trying to get their debt consolidated, blah, blah, blah. So I wouldn't be there. And some of the coworkers that I was, for instance, she likes you. You know, I was married at the time. You know, now she's not.
Co-workers telling her boss she likes you, and he's saying, I was married at the time.
My type either. Anyways, and then I got that letter. I have no idea or proof for her. It was just I was hearing that the whole time. So she's more the like silent type that you need to worry about, you know, but never saw like a big angry outburst. Emotional, I saw sometimes she come to work sobbing, but it would usually have to do with him, Stacy.
Coming to work sobbing, usually because it had something to do with Stacy. Wow. Yeah. You gotta hold it together when you're at work. You know, that's not the place and time. I mean, sometimes things can bother you and stuff, but I mean, who knows what was going on though? It sounds like Sarah and Stacy could have had an abusive relationship as well. So coming in and crying about it, you know, what was going on with their lives? She obviously wasn't happy with Stacy.
Okay.
But like I said, he would sit his fat ass out in her car all day while she's working because they were.
Probably because he didn't have a place to go. Sitting all day long outside her work. Either one, because he had trust issues, because she was always sleeping with other men, or, he doesn't have anywhere to go, nowhere to stay, so he's just staying inside of her car all day while she's at work.
They were living with their parents, and he wasn't allowed in the house. This is probably 2000. What year did Michael go missing? So this is probably 2018, 19.
Okay.
He went
So it was before
21.
that.
21, yeah, 3 years ago.
So I'm thinking, but then their parents must have bought her a house because during the day he would come to work, sit in the car with her, and she told me she would have to sneak him in at night.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they ended up buying them a house and renting it, a year or two later after.
Thank you.
But why would her parents want to buy a house to let them live in if they didn't even like Stacy? Why not just continue letting Sarah stay there? Or maybe they found out that Stacy was coming in the window and staying anyway, so they figured, I don't want the guy in my house, I might as well just buy the house down the road, let him stay in it or something.
But no, I never saw like some big angry thing. I saw emotional, oddball stuff from her. Just she would talk to like her stuffed animal, and I always thought it was an.
Hey, babe, Trace, honey, look on the back porch. Our little bunny's here. He's in the backyard. Would you go make sure he doesn't get in the garden?
An act for attention.
We have this bunny that comes to visit. We always see it out front eating the clover and stuff, but right now he's out here on the back porch. Honey, I'm wondering if he's eating all the strawberries. Would you come check? It's so funny because he's so cute. I actually almost don't mind even letting him eat stuff out there. He went that way.
Yeah.
But I never saw him out of work,
Okay.
Was he religious?
Because they live in Fruitland, which is a good hour away from Boise.
Do you know?
Let me rewind this just a little bit because I wasn't paying attention. Here we go. Sorry, you guys. This rabbit got me sidetracked. I tried giving him carrots, Jemima. He doesn't like the carrots out of the fridge. So we've actually gave him lettuce that I grow out in the backyard. And I mean to tell you, this little jackrabbit, you can come right out into the yard when he's out there and everything. He doesn't move. He just continues to sit there and eat the clover, flowers, the clover. He's so cute and so friendly. The only time he hops away is if like we're getting ready to walk out the front door and he's out there and he's like right by the front door in the front garden. He'll like take off because the door scares him. Or we can actually stand out there, watch him walk around, water the plants and everything else while he's eating clover. But if we start the car to leave to go anywhere, he'll take off running too. But he sure is a cute little guy. Me and my neighbor are obsessed with him because he's around every single day around the same time. It's funny.
Thank you.
But no, I never saw like some big angry thing. I saw emotional, oddball stuff from her. Just she would talk to like her stuffed animal, and
Talk to her stuffed animal. Sarah Wondra talked to her stuffed animal. Wow. No, he's not big. He's just a little jackrabbit. This is weird. She talked to her stuffed animal. This is like her mental state of mind is getting worse and worse and worse, in my opinion. The more I hear about Sarah Wondra, the worse it gets, really. And yeah, Donna might. At work? So she's talking to her stuffed animal while she's at work? That's a little weird.
I always thought it was an act for attention,
Yeah.
But I never saw him out of work,
Okay.
Was she religious?
Because they live in Fruitland, which is a good hour away from Boise.
Do you know if she was religious at all?
No, that's all new to me.
Okay, because yeah, she kind of went new into that once Michael became.
Yeah, I think that has to do with, for sure. I think that has to do with the Michael.
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Oh, good, Rogue, because that's why I actually went back because I saw you say what. And so Rogue's saying, I know, Samantha, that's why I typed what? Yeah, like talking to stuffed animals while you're at work. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, hello, little animal. What do you like? What do you what do you say to a stuffed animal? I'm sorry, you guys. I do not mean to be making fun of anybody's mental health because Lord knows I have had my fair share of mental health issues with panic attacks and depression and stuff, but it's not funny. But wow, Sarah Wondra has always needed help, it sounds like. Maybe if people in her life had really saw and witnessed how bad she needed it, if they would have just advocated for her or with her to get her some help, maybe Michael Vaughan would still be here. That's what's messed up about all this.
Yeah.
You know, she always had health issues too. Was the other thing she was always told. She'd be in the hospital for a couple days with her blood, sugar.
Yeah, again, you have somebody else saying she's not religious. So we have her ex-husband saying she wasn't religious. Now you got her boss saying that she wasn't religious. All news to both of them. And then when Michael Vaughan is abducted, that's the only thing you see on her TikTok for months and months and months is God and scriptures from the Bible and her speaking about God, everything. Look what Chris Madonna says about the boxes of the pocket Bibles that were found in the house when he went, when Stacy Wondra gave the tip. It's like she lost her shit and had to lean on God in some kind of way to maybe feel like, you know, she could be saved for this awful thing that she did or witnessed or knew about.
Diabetes.
I mean, she's not healthy. Yeah.
And herpes. You know?
But I never saw her get angry. Just saw her. I mean, she actually had a decent work ethic, you know.
Uh-huh.
But she was always kind of very different. Like I said, she wore this beanie that said "babe," so everybody's always laughed at that. 'Cause she's this big nasty broad. You know what I mean? Kind of coincidental. This big pink hat with a little fur on the top. But
well, we're going to see.
I hope they get her, man.
I do too.
Yeah.
I hope somebody's charged. But I appreciate you calling in, Mike.
Thanks
It was
for
good
calling.
talking to you.
No, Wolf Chambers said that he didn't know anything about her being religious, that was new to him too. So this is two people that has said that. So 13 years ago, her ex-husband is saying when they were together, when he knew her, she wasn't a religious person. And then you have her boss here that I can't remember what time he was saying he was her boss. That's the messed up part. I tried to catch it, but I didn't. But he's also saying he didn't know her to be a religious person anyway. But thank you, PJ Vision, for, you know, everything you're doing on the Michael Vaughan case. If you're listening, I truly appreciate you for everything you're doing, you know, in Michael Vaughan's case. And Dolly Vision has done several things, but PJ Vision's, she knows a lot in the case. And that, you know, anybody digging deep, dig deep, dig deep. That's what we need. So I don't know how long it's going to take us to get through the TikToks, but I have promised several people here that we'll go through some, or I could save it for another live for next week. So if you guys want to see some TikToks, if you guys have some time, give me some ones. And if I get plenty of ones for wanting to see Sarah's TikToks, I got about 13 minutes of them. I will play them. If not, we can wait till next week. Jemima's like, 11111. I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them, y'all. We can do it. Let's do it. All right. If you guys have been familiar with Michael Vaughan's case, I'm sure you guys have seen some of these that have been played before by other creators. Carly, thank you so much for coming in. Ashley, it's good to see you too. Everybody wants to see it. I haven't seen this since the very beginning, Dynamite says. Me either. I actually screen recorded so many of them in the very beginning, and then I did a live and showed them briefly. So yeah, I would love to go over them again. So I'm glad you guys have time to stay. Thank you guys all for coming in, for being supportive of Michael Joseph Vaughan and the Vaughan family. Please hit the notification bell, because I am one of those people that do spur of the moment lives. And if you decide you want to become a Missing PNW whisperer or screamer and join the other members here at Missing PNW, but you can lurk or you can just subscribe. It doesn't matter to me. I just appreciate you guys all coming in. Michael Joseph Vaughan, missing since July 27th, 2021. If you have any information about Michael Vaughan's abduction or murder, please call in a tip to 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. There are 4 named suspects: Sarah and Stacy Wondra, Adrian Lucian, Brandon Shirtliff. If you have any information about those suspects, remember seeing anything on, before, or after Michael's abduction in Fruitland, Idaho on July 27th, 2021 in his neighborhood, please call law enforcement. Any tip is never too small. It could be the tip that law enforcement needs. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. You can remain anonymous, and there is over a $52,000 reward for anybody with any information leading to Michael Vaughan. Remember what you were doing. If you live in that community, just remember what you were doing days prior, days after, and on the day that Michael Vaughan was abducted. Try to remember everything you possibly can and call law enforcement with anything you believe. Even if you don't believe, if you saw anything at all that you feel like, man, maybe, just maybe, I should call. You should. You should definitely call. Don't hesitate. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Be Monkey's hero. Bring justice for Michael Vaughan. I know the Vaughan family would love hearing that more tips have poured in. Please, please, we need anybody and everybody out there to call in tips for Michael Joseph Vaughan. A 5-year-old little boy that was abducted in Fruitland, Idaho on July 27th, 2021. We are Monkey's Army. We're never going to stop. We know there are people out there that have knowledge other than the 4 suspects. So please come forward. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org.
I don't deserve half the stuff I've been given. Not even anything, really. God just keeps blessing me and I don't deserve it. And I can't pay it back.
By the way, this is the live that I did for Sarah. You can find it in my Michael Vaughan playlist. I can actually add that playlist link right here. Hold on, give me just a second. Where is it at? Here's Michael Vaughan's playlist. The name of it was Sarah Wondra, Spiritual Attacks, Trauma, or Fake. And it pretty much means that. Was Sarah having spiritual attacks? Was she going through some kind of trauma? Or was she just faking all of that? for attention or to make her seem like she had like some very, bad mental health issues that could, she could later then use in court to get out of being responsible for the abduction and murder of Michael Joseph Vaughan. So if you want to catch this, take a look at it. And there you have her saying in that TikTok, she doesn't deserve anything. Matter of fact, let's rewind real quick, because now that I started talking, I kind of forgot what she was saying. I know, but I like to use her words.
I don't deserve half the stuff I've been given. Not even anything, really.
She's saying she doesn't deserve anything she's been given by God. Why?
God just keeps blessing me and I don't deserve it.
God keeps blessing her and she does not deserve it. This is just a short while after Michael Vaughan's abduction. Just a very short while. Why would she be breaking down like that and saying those things? What did she do?
I can't pay it back.
I do that a lot, but I want to.
Some of the sins God is saving me from because I don't deserve it, is what she wrote here on her TikTok. Yeah, crying for herself the whole time, feeling guilty maybe a little bit. Sarah, I don't know, but she is crying to a screen instead of the police. Exactly. I think she has learned how to be a very, very manipulative. They chose the wrong victims, wrong place. Yep, because Michael will get justice.
Put out there that I have been saved from a lot of sin. The reason why I trust in God so much is because I have so much to be saved from. For instance, I've committed robbery. Oregon, you want to look that up? I've lied. I've cheated.
Notice how she talks about the fact that she's been saved from like robbery or forgiven from robbery. She starts with a crime. She almost sounded like she was going to continue on her crime path, but then didn't. But God is a very forgiving God. But why is she talking about it in this matter of not deserving it? Because God will save you from your sins according to the Bible. He will forgive you if you confess your sins, but why does she talk about not deserving it?
For a while, a long time, I hated. I have so much to.
Hair curlers and crime, go back 3 seconds. Okay. Let me know what you think you're hearing or talking about so I know. I gotta sneeze. Hold up. It's allergy season for real.
To be saved from. For instance, I've committed robbery. Oregon, you want to look that up? I've lied. I've cheated. I've hated my sister for a while, a long time. I hated my sister, but God's helped me overcome that. I hated my brother for molesting me for a long time, and He's helped me overcome that. And I've hurt people. I've cheated on them.
I've hurt people. It's just a little bit of a red flag for me.
I've been divorced and remarried, so I'm an adulteress. Then again, I don't know if he cheated me or not, but that's not the point. I mean, I've committed so much sin that...
She stopped with the crimes and scratched her head. It's a tell. Yes. When they're messing with their face, when they mess with their hair, she did. She mentioned her crime first. She almost acted like she was going to continue mentioning her crimes and then stopped and started mentioning other sins. Rogue's like, what? I didn't know that her brother had did that. Yeah, Sarah claims that she was assaulted by her brother when she was younger. Yes.
I know I hung Jesus on the cross with my sin, which that makes me a murderer because I killed...
She hung Jesus on the cross with her sins. I'm a murderer. That's kind of an odd thing to say. I'm a murderer. She's calling herself a murderer because her sins put Jesus on the cross. We all know Jesus is, on the cross and died for our sins, but she's calling herself a murderer, and I always found this very suspicious. This was just one of those TikToks that I was like, what? I don't know any Christian people that call themselves a murderer for God or for Jesus, going on the cross for our sins. I don't call myself a murderer. I know many religious people, and I've never heard that before. And chat is blowing up. She's a nutty nutcase. Yep. Personally, in my opinion, Sarah's a psychopath or sociopath, and Stacy is a psychopath. Yeah. I don't know anybody. You'd hear stuff like that in a evangelical service. Yeah, you might. I mean, some of our really aggressive Christian people out there, and that's okay to be that way. Believe in whatever you want to believe in. Let's see. Censor herself, but playing the mental health card. Yes. That could be why she wants control over someone because of what her brother did to her. Just a thought. That's not a bad thought. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hair curlers and crime for real. It's very sad to know what her brother did to her. That having that happen to you as a child growing up by anybody that you love and by anybody at all really changes your life and changes the person that you turn out to be, because you could end up being just like the person that did something to you, or you can try to want to better your life and, never do anything like that to another soul. The thing is you have to get the help that you need in situations like this. I don't know that she says how old she was.
the Lord God on a tree. And
I just can't get over the fact that she's calling herself a murderer, though, because Jesus died for her sins. And I'm so sorry, Rogue, that happened to you. That's so awful. I've had the same kinds of things happen to me before in my life several times. It's a very difficult life to live once something like that has happened to you. Thank you for sharing, though, Rogue. I really do appreciate that. That's not something easy to talk about.
He still is willing to save me and work through me. I'm just grateful that I even get to even think about going to heaven. And he's saved.
And then she almost breaks down as she talks about how thankful that she is that she's even going to be able to go to heaven. Why does she have like that breakdown, this guilt that she's holding inside of herself? Sarah, the guilt that you have, get rid of it. Tell law enforcement what happened to Monkey. Tell law enforcement everything you know. Stop pretending. The only way God is going to forgive you for everything you've done is if you come out and do the right thing. You can ask God for forgiveness, but you need to also repent for those sins. You need to do the right thing and come forward, tell law enforcement, tell the Vaughan family, do those kinds of things, because if you really want to be forgiven by God, he wants you to do the right thing, Sarah. Yes, so much guilt. Do the right thing if you want any if you want any chance. Where is Michael Joseph Vaughan? I mean, I was baptized Southern Baptist, okay? Raised Southern Baptist, baptized Baptist. I'm just saying, there's more to be forgiven. Hold on one second. I've got to close my blinds because the light is shining through these curtains and I can't see a damn thing. Hold up one sec. Sorry for the pauses, guys, but yeah, I couldn't see my computer, my phone, nothing. The light was just reflecting off of everything in my kitchen. Okay. Sarah, that guilt is called a conscience, and it's going to nag at you for the rest of your life until you tell the truth. Absolutely. Let's see what else she's got to say here.
Me from myself. People always ask why a loving God would let murder and hate and horrible things happen to you. Well, here's the thing.
Why would God let murder and hate happen to you? Why would God let that happen to you? And a suspect in Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder wants to tell you what God thinks about that. It's just crazy the things that she says.
First of all, it's kind of our own fault. We sin. So, but anyway, God lets those things happen to us because he gave us free will. And because sin is rampant, because we chose to sin, there's also a curse with that, right? But also, other people's sins affect you, and my sin affects other people, because sin is ugly.
And my sin, she says, affects other people. Yeah, Sarah, your sin definitely affected the Vaughan family. They feel like they've been tortured not knowing what happened to their son, to their sibling, to their grandchild. The Vaughan family suffers because of what you did. That is a fact. She wants to act here like, oh, what's the word she uses? I gotta back up. Hold on.
Murder and hate and horrible things happen to you. Well, here's the thing. First of all, it's kind of our own fault. We sin. So, but anyway, God lets those things happen to us because He gave us free will.
God lets those things happen to us. Free will. So what happened to the Vaughan family is supposed to be forgiven because God gave Sarah, Stacy, Adrian, and Brandon free will to do what they want to do, right? That does not sound like my God. I'm just saying.
And because sin is rampant, because we chose to sin, there's also a curse with that, right? But also, other people's sins affect you, and my sin affects other people.
Yes, your sin affected the Vaughan family, Sarah. You are correct.
Because sin is ugly, and it's messy, and it doesn't stay in its own pile of sin. It's
Brandy Neal Vaughan is here, Michael Joseph Vaughan's mama. She says, nope, not having it. Yeah, not my God, Mama B says. For every action, there is a reaction. That's life, not God. You don't get free will to do whatever the hell you want to do. God doesn't give you that kind of freedom. You do have free will, but you have to repent. You have to ask for forgiveness. And in order to do those things and God forgive you, you have to do the right thing, Sarah, which is tell the Vaughan family what happened to Monkey. Everything you know, you need to come forward and tell the family and tell law enforcement what you know. That is the way God will forgive you. Be Monkey's hero. Be the Vaughan family's hero and do the right thing, Sarah.
splatters out like blood, and it literally covers other people with the sin that you're putting out there. So
Brandy says sin is you, Sarah. Pure evil. And I know everybody here agrees with you. Thank you for coming in, love.
when Jesus...
Let me go back just a tiny bit. She said something here.
We sin. So, but anyway, God lets those things happen to us because He gave us free will. And because sin is rampant, because we chose to sin, there's also a curse with that, right? But also, other people's sins affect you, and my sin affects other people. Because sin is ugly, and it's messy, and it doesn't stay in its own pile of sin. It splatters out like blood, and it literally covers up.
What a strange statement right there. Sin splatters out like blood. What the hell is she talking about?
Other people with the sin that you're putting out there. So when Jesus covers you with His blood, He's spattering out His grace over your life, over all the people that choose to accept His gift. Because really, everyone can accept His gift. Some people choose not to. Some people, they just unfortunately never knew that there was a gift, because some of us believers didn't go out there and tell them.
is so strange. It's weird. DC prime time, I feel the same way. That's weird. Splatters out like blood, like grace, like what? Like Jesus's blood splatters out like grace. It's just, it makes no sense. Like Jen R is saying, it's like a twisted metaphor she's trying to spin here to get out of her own guilty conscience of what she's done. Because all of these TikToks, you guys, okay? So when I went through these TikToks, I went through the TikToks and I took the ones from after Michael Vaughan's abduction until about, I think, October, November of 2021. So just like 3 to 4 months after Michael Vaughan disappeared. This is the kind of stuff she's spewing on her TikTok. And there was so many more, you guys. Maybe I'll take the time here soon, go over to the TikTok, do some more screen recording. I've been really hesitant to put TikTok app on my computer, my personal computer. But it's mind-blowing to me. The way that she thinks that, you know, her forgiving God will forgive her for just anything. And her deflection here using God is gross. Brandy says, oh, love, I can't. She makes me so sick. I love you all. Prayers for everyone. Sarah, you will atone for your sins by God. She will. Because charges are coming and she will be paying the price with her life if she cannot come forward, take a plea deal, or tell law enforcement what happened. And she'll either be facing, you know, that firing squad or spending the rest of her life in prison. And that will be the punishment that God gives her. Keep talking about order and blood and death over and over and over again. Yep. It's all red flags, you know, that she knows something. Thank you guys so much for being here for Monkey. I know that Brandy absolutely positively loves people coming in.
But one thing I haven't talked about is forgiveness, and I've had to experience forgiveness a lot on my end, and me giving forgiveness, because I've done a lot of things. I've hurt a lot of people's
I've done a lot of things. I've hurt a lot of people's
hearts.
She's hurt a lot of people's hearts. You've done way more than just hurt hearts, hun. You have flat out broken the hearts of the Vaughan family. And you do it continuously each day that you don't talk about what happened to Michael Joseph Vaughan. Your sins are going to haunt you. That is what's going to happen. You will not get the forgiveness that you think you will. And her thing here on her TikTok says, forgiveness is necessary. I bear witness to God's forgiveness. It's such a bizarre confessional, right? You have crushed them. Police have probably taken over their TikTok accounts, honestly. I wish her and Stacy didn't delete the TikTok account they shared. I didn't know they had it until I seen it in her TikTok. She had restored some videos. I looked for the account and I can't find it. Oh, well, I hope. Well, I'm glad I have these, but yeah, I don't know. Wow. I wonder if I'm even going to be able to find her TikTok now.
I've done a lot of bad things that I've had to confess to God, and
I've done a lot of bad things to confess to God.
And to the person I wronged, you know.
And to the person that she wronged. It's just... Yeah, she is definitely feeling guilty. I agree with you. Yep. I think they're out there. Just need to find them. Yes, my partner that was working for me, who before she decided to take her social media break, she works at the courthouse over here in Oregon. And when she started working and doing cases in court, she started witnessing lawyers and stuff using things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and other things being used as evidence against people for what they're posting and everything else, and had found out, like, I know for a fact law enforcement has taken over Terry Horman's Facebook account and Dee Dee Spicer's Facebook account from back in 2010 when Kyron Horman was abducted. And because what happens is a person can permanently delete their Facebook account, but if law enforcement contacts the social media platform and tells them do not permanently delete it, even if they ask, then they can send somebody in, look through their content, get and gather what they need, whatever, for court. And to this day, you can click on Terry Horman's old Facebook account that she no longer has posted nothing in anymore. It just sits there because law enforcement has taken over that account. And, you know, they could do the same thing with Sarah Wondra's TikTok. It is definitely something that happens. If you put something out there on social media, it stays on social media. You can use it in court. That's why Stacy, Wondra, and Brandon coming up on all these lives, or even Adrian, Lucy, and showing up in chat was so important to get them up here and get them to talk, because law enforcement can use all of it in court. Sarah Suspicious says, I let detective in my missing persons group to see evidence that I called in. They have a whole department for social media investigations. Yep. I think it was under Sarah. I don't know. Maybe we can see this next one, what it is.
So
it is under Sarah Ann Wondra. Ann is ANNE. Sarah Ann Wondra. And this is from February of 2021. This is a very strange and unusual post to me. Like, she talks about God telling her she's got to do certain things, and she gets a t-shirt out, and on the t-shirt writes, Jesus is coming soon. Like, she started to believe in her TikToks that the world was coming to an end. And I have spoken about this before. I'll speak about it once more, that when people become mentally compromised, and I've experienced this with my mother going in and out of mental institutions my entire life, when they become mentally compromised and they have ever in their life had God a part of their life, it's not unusual to see somebody in that state of mind start leaning more on God, and even talking about the end of the world and stuff. My mom showed up on my back porch. She had shaved her head, very mentally compromised at this point, dropped off by a taxi service. My mom never left her house, and she was dropped off at my house in a taxi. And when I opened the back door, she was bald. And she was telling me that Jesus had put the crown of thorns on her head, and she had to shave her head to try to get the thorns out of her head. So like I say, it is not unusual. It's actually more common than you would think when somebody has become mentally compromised, which I believe Sarah Wondra was. Whatever she witnessed, saw, or knew, or did, she became mentally compromised. And this God thing could be true, not true, but if you go through and you look at her TikToks, she becomes more and more crazy, in my opinion. As the months go by, it gets worse and worse, the way that she talks and stuff. So, someone becoming mentally compromised and talking about the end of the world and that God said that he was coming and all of that kind of stuff, that Armageddon stuff, it's not unusual. I've heard many, many people talk about it before. Yeah, it wasn't actually one of those mental things like we thought it was. She was having an allergic reaction. My mom was having an allergic reaction to some medications that she was taking. And as soon as we got her off of the medicine, she was fine. But she became mentally compromised because of some medicine that she was taking. I called my sister like, nah, something's wrong with mom. We thought, it was another mental breakdown or nervous breakdown or something, but it actually turned out to just be an allergic reaction. Yeah, very difficult to see my mom that way, but I was very thankful for the doctors, for listening to me and my sister when we took her into the hospital. I don't know. Sarah was Mormon or what her religious background was, or if her parents or adopted parents. Yes, that is true. My grandma actually got kind of wonky with the UTI. But let's listen to this. Oh, it's okay. When my mom got to a certain age, we just advocated for her, and that's what you got to do. And my childhood growing up was a little bad, knowing that she was in and out, but my mom always, got what she needed to help herself. And that's why I always advocate for people with mental illnesses. If you don't advocate for yourself, if you don't talk to counselors, med counselors, do everything you need to do when you know something's not okay with yourself, then that's when things like this in the Michael Vaughan case happens. When you got somebody mentally unstable here, in an abduction and a murder here of a child, like you have to make sure to take care of your mental health if you know something's wrong.
Jesus is calling me.
She said, Jesus is calling me. She's wearing that shirt. She says in another TikTok that Jesus told her she had to go hold a sign out on the corner in front of like a Mary Jane shop or whatever, wearing that shirt. So that's why she made that shirt. Jesus was talking with her. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate. I lost my mama in 2013, but I understand everything that she went through in her life. She had a very, very rough life growing up. More rough than I don't want to go into all of it, but it was the kind of life that we see here on the YouTube streets with these kids getting abused and assaulted and everything else. She had the worst of the worst, and she, advocated for herself and got the help she needed.
Today, I got called to go stand on a corner and hold some signs for Jesus. And I've never done this before, but, or felt like, well, no, I feel like I felt the need that I need to go do it and maybe just didn't do it for a while. But I wanted to hold the sign where I wanted to hold the sign. But God wanted me to hold the sign next to the weed shop.
She wanted to hold the sign where she wanted to hold the sign, but God told her she had to hold the sign by the Mary Jane shop. I mean, we hear her in her affidavit. The Almighty God told me Stacy did it. Okay? She believed God was talking to her. My mom believed God was talking to her many, many, many times. It's not it's very normal for that kind of activity to go on when your mental health is at risk. Again, I thank you guys all so much. I have learned from my mother's experience, and that's why when I have had my own mental issues that I have advocated for myself and got myself help, and that's what you got to do. And Rogue, I am so sorry, love. It sounds like you've had it difficult too. Bless your heart, honey. But God is always speaking to Sarah Wanda. Don't forget, she's out in the driveway rolling around, talking to the sky, talking to God too at one point too.
Much. But
this is the video where she's talking on TikTok, and Michael Vaughan is in the back on the refrigerator. This is the TikTok here that she's talking about.
God's bigger than your storm or your disease or whatever's going on. So I'm living proof of that because I'm diabetic.
Yes, exactly. Hair curlers and crime. Lori Vallow said the same kind of stuff. Lori Vallow actually reminds me a lot. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for bringing that up, because when your mind is mentally compromised mentally, and you have had religion in any way, shape, or form, okay? In any way, shape, or form, it is not uncommon for people to lean so far on God. Lori Vallow gets caught up in almost like a cult of it, believing that her own children, were being possessed or something. I mean, it's a perfect example of what I'm saying. Thank you so much for posting that up here. Yeah, she's either just woken up or been crying or something too. Lori was a cult woman. Lori was just as scary, if not scarier, but I don't know about Sarah. Don't know Sarah. Yeah, zombies. That's what it was. That, her children would turn into zombies. And it was a cult. It really was like a cult. And I believe that at some point, mentally, she just out of it and just totally took in all of this God stuff. Thank you so much for that. But this is the video where Monkey is on her refrigerator.
God's bigger than your storm or your disease or whatever's going on. So I'm living proof of that because I'm diabetic, and my blood sugar, according to these things, have been almost consistently between like 300, sometimes even.
You can see him in the back now on the fridge.
Up to 600. Basically where the modern medicine tells you that you're going to be in a coma. Like, or you should have already been in a coma.
Yes, because high blood sugars cause ketoacidosis, which can put you in a coma. Yeah, she sounds low energy. I believe sometimes she's slurring her words. I'm wondering if she's over-medicated or on drugs or something. But she talks slow and slurry sometimes. No, her forehead looks strange to me too, like bulging.
It's been like that for like years now.
The date of this one, I want to say this is in February, 10/13 of 2021, so October, I think. And as you watch these, you'll see her gradually getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, by the time that I started ending the talks, I was like, damn, because she just progressively just goes. I do not know how anybody in that house didn't get her some friggin' help. But they were all probably wrapped up in their own guilt, their own whatever, right? Like, because they just did something so horrific to a 5-year-old little boy.
Still walking around, cleaning my house, praising Jesus. Barely taking my medicine that they gave me because I can't afford a bunch of new ones and there was a bunch of problems. But I decided to just trust God for it, and yeah, still walking around. Got energy. Maybe not a lot, but I got energy, and God's given me my life. I'm not in a coma. I'm still here speaking the things of God.
Yeah, her slurring got so much worse in that.
So, if you don't know what time we live in, man, you better jump on board. We live in the time of the end. So
We live in the time of the end. And that was one of her really super long. I just like started taking clips from some of her TikToks because some of her TikToks would just go on and on and on and on. And I was trying to catch some like relevant stuff. But yeah, she's talking about the end of the world and shit.
when I was 14 years old, I used to lock myself in the room and just dive into Revelation. I gotta tell you, I didn't necessarily understand all of it at that time. And you know, sometimes
Revelations in the Bible, for anybody that doesn't know, is when the Bible talks about the end of times, the end of the world, the beast coming down to earth, the number 666, not to take the number on your body and all of this stuff. She's saying at 14 years old, she was obsessed, or not obsessed, but reading, you know, about the Armageddon and stuff in Revelations. My mom, same thing. She got really obsessive over Revelations when her mental health was bad. The fact that she talks about being 14 years old and being in her room and reading the Bible doesn't surprise me how she goes off on this, tangent of God obsession when her mental health is at risk here.
sometimes even now, God's gotta remind me of some things. But I don't speak on it unless God proves it to me.
Sarah, God will be proving it to you. Let me tell you. Because if you don't come forward, your family could witness the firing squad, witness their daughter, their loved one being in prison for the rest of their life. And they're not going to be around forever to put money on your books and be there for you for forever either. You have to remember that. They're older people. So do the right thing and come forward. She is hiding behind God. It is deflection. Yeah. I think she's using God because of her guilt. Part of me believes, yes, she's using God. Yes, she's God. Yes, it's guilt. But I do believe that she believes what she's saying as she's trying to deflect and hoping that God is listening to her. And all at the same time, her mental health being compromised and going further and further and further downhill. Why did I go all the way back there? I did not mean to do that. Okay, hold on a second.
Sometimes, even now, God's got to remind me of some things. But I don't speak on it unless God proves it to me. So I've been going through some serious tests of faith.
Exactly, Road. Like, where the heck are the Ramsey? Where's her parents during all this time when her mental health is seriously compromised? She's got Brandon and Stacy in the house. Adrian was there till August. You've got Tanner in the house. You got all of these people in and out of the house and around them and stuff, and yet nobody helps her get some help. Allowing her, she also was the boss of herself. So I don't know that anybody could even tell her what to do or if she would take the advice of anybody, especially if she believed in what she was doing was right. I don't know, but wow.
I walk around out here outside. I got like my arms. It says Jesus is coming.
This is something my mom did, you guys. Writing on herself. This hit home for me. The first time I saw it, I actually teared up because my mom wrote on herself. And Sarah's going to describe writing on her body, scriptures and stuff.
Jesus lives. Chosen through Christ, right? Okay. But I gotta tell you, there's like a little enemy inside me. The enemy is like whispering in my ear when I go into stores and things. He's like, they're gonna reject you. They're gonna be evil toward you.
She's saying she's hearing a voice in her head telling her that people in a grocery store are going to reject her. She is paranoid now. To me, paranoid to be out in public because of what she has done to Michael Vaughan. And she thinks the whole world can see her. Does that make sense to you guys? Like every time she'd leave the house, do anything? Yes, paranoid schizophrenia. It's like that. Like she is paranoid. Thinking she's hearing something going on in her head when she goes out into public and she's sitting here talking about this grocery store.
Outside, I got like my arms. It says Jesus is coming.
Things like this does happen with low blood sugar, but she didn't have low blood sugars. She had high blood sugars. They were always running high.
Jesus lives. Chosen through Christ, right? Okay. But I gotta tell you, there's like a little enemy inside me. The enemy is...
And saying that these people that she's hearing is like an enemy. It's like an enemy telling her these things.
It's like whispering in my ear when I go into stores and things. He's like, they're gonna reject you. They're gonna be evil toward you. And you're gonna have to stand that. Hide your arms, Sarah. Hide your hand. Don't let anybody see you. And you know what makes me kind of sick is at first, I was like, I almost caught myself almost doing that. And then
and I think she just said, I almost cut myself doing that. Like, the evil thing in her head is telling her to cover her arms and everything as she's in this grocery store. Let's rewind just a little bit. I think she said, I almost cut myself.
And And, you know what makes me kind of sick is at first, you know, I was like, I almost caught myself almost doing that. And he still.
Oh my God, I did it again. I almost caught myself doing that, she says. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. I hit the wrong damn button again.
Almost doing that. And then I realized.
Yeah, caught myself almost doing that. Sugars cause short-term delusions, high and low, whereas mental health doesn't come and go. Some videos around this time were normal, but others, like these. I didn't know that high blood sugars could do that. I've actually had my daughter in ketoacidosis and never witnessed her doing anything like that. I thought it was only low blood sugars, so thank you for that. Little Miss Sunshine, thank you for coming in. New to the chat, but have been subbed for some time. Hello, everybody. Hello, thank you for coming in, hon. I appreciate you stopping by.
There's the enemy trying to get me to deny Jesus in front of people. So I had to no, I'm going to show my arm. I'm going to walk in there. I'm not going to be ashamed.
Can you imagine Sarah Wondra walking into a store and she's got all of this writing and everything on her arms? You know, and people are going to look at her. You're just, if you're writing all over yourself like that, you're going to be stared at, you're going to be looked at, and that probably made her 10,000 times more paranoid than it sounds like she already was before she even went into the store.
Church, you need to wake up. Seriously.
I want you guys to pay attention to something these last few TikToks. You're going to see more. Like I said, the further you go, the worse that it gets. And she becomes more manic. You can see it in her eyes. They start shifting more. You'll see more anxiety in her. You'll hear her breathing more in and out, more panicky. And that's as you get further into her TikTok. So the longer that it goes by, the worse everything gets. So while you're listening to her words, listen to her breathing, watch her eyes, watch her face, watch the panic. She is fighting what looks like panic attacks and just seriously fighting to survive mentally.
I don't know if you don't realize what time we're living in or where we're living. We are living in Mystery Babylon. Revelation 17 through 19, 1 through 5. Go read it.
She's just so strange with all of these.
I just have crazy experience. I don't even know how to explain this test that I just had to go through. It was just pray for me, brothers and sisters in Christ. It was overwhelming. God is on the throne.
And that when you could really hear her breathing getting a little bit out of control. She was definitely having a hard time. It was almost like she was asking people to pray for her. Just, mentally.
I just wanted to let you know that when you're listening to people telling you things from God, when they're telling you scripture, okay, sorry. The enemy's trying to distract me with vanity. Okay.
There, she's looking into the camera and she's talking. The enemy is trying to strike me with vanity. Listen to this again. She's like losing it. Losing it.
It was just pray for me, brothers and sisters in Christ. It was overwhelming. God is on the throne. I just wanted to let you know that
Hair Curlers in Crime keeps pointing out the dates because they go day by day throughout. I believe this is October. These dates are significant, and I am wondering if this is when a move happened. We know in October that they left and went to Texas, but yeah, I mean, not only are you going to have some mental issues, knowing, doing, or seeing something bad happen to Michael, but then something else happens later on down the road, and then Michael ends up being moved from the Wandra's yard to somewhere else. That's going to be that much more to deal with if she's already having some mental health issues, or the moving Michael could have caused her, you know. The thing is, though, is she knows exactly what happened. And when you try talking to her, she deflects away from Michael. She doesn't want to talk about Michael. So I don't even know. She needs to talk about Michael. She needs to tell the truth. She needs to tell, everything she knows about what happened to Michael that day. And I know she knows. She knows.
that when you're listening to people telling you things from God, when they're telling you scripture. Okay, sorry. The enemy's trying to distract me with vanity. Okay.
The enemy is trying to strike me with vanity. She's talking about people in scripture.
The time for grace is almost up. Now is the time to decide. Are you for God? Are you for Christ? Or are you against him?
Wasn't it just a few weeks before they arrested her that Sarah was in a psych ward? I don't know. Was she in a hospital or a psych ward? I don't know. Honestly. If she took her insulin and her Quanapine, she wouldn't be like this, but she didn't look after her health. This, I don't believe, is guilt, but guilty knowledge that is slipping out evil. I agree. Yeah, she had even talked about in her TikToks not getting a lot of sleep. She looks tired and exhausted. She could have even been having panic attacks in the middle of the night. I know how I looked when I was waking up from a dead sleep having panic attacks. So, yeah, she starts looking more and more erratic and just really out of it.
So we have a refrigerator and a TV from Rent a Center that we're renting, which today we're giving back the TV because we can't afford it, and well, we don't really need a TV anyway. All it does is bring evil really into the house unless we're very careful guarding our hearts.
And she's speaking faster and faster and faster, and that's part of being manic. And there you have her talking about how her refrigerator and her TV is going back to Rent a Center. Stacy Wondra tried to say that they were getting up, and that actually he said that they watched TV the morning that Michael disappeared. He also said they didn't because Sarah had returned the TV. Well, the TV and the refrigerator end up getting repoed. He said that she returned it because it was evil. But here we are months later when the actual TV is getting repoed. And she's calling this TV evil because she didn't want it in the house. So were they just not making payments, or did she just want these things out of her house? I mean, but why the refrigerator too? Yeah, and lack of sleep can really affect your mental health. Um, what is or was going on with Sarah is not a recipe for kidnapping and getting rid of a child. Right. Exactly.
I was just sleeping, and because I've been so tired that I've come to start sleeping during the day. Because at night I'm seriously tormented.
Do you guys see her face here? She is out of it. She is just like, I've had to start sleeping during the day because I'm not sleeping. Watch the way she's rubbing the top of her face, her forehead, everything. She's just very erratic.
We don't really need a TV anyway. All it does is
some kind of panic.
Bring evil really into the house unless we're very careful of guarding our hearts. But
yeah, and it gets worse towards the end of October.
I was just sleeping, and because I've been so tired that I've come to start sleeping during the day. Because at night I'm seriously tormented sometimes by these
having to sleep during the day, talking about being tormented. I mean, what about the Vaughan family and how tormented they were feeling by what Sarah Wondra did, abducting Michael Vaughan?
spiritual attacks, but
saying that she's having spiritual attacks instead of just calling them panic attacks, nervous breakdowns, or whatever it was. It's spiritual attacks.
Oh man, just please pray.
And this is later the same day. She does another TikTok about it.
Pray for me.
Again, you can see there writing on the back of her hand.
I don't know. I know God is coming. Jesus is coming.
Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. She's in a panic.
I don't ever want to be found sleeping.
When she isn't breathing deeply, fast, and everything else, she's holding her breath, which is another sign of some really high anxiety.
Just help me by praying for me. Just lift me up to God the Father.
Very, very strange TikToks. I am actually going to go through, see if I can find her TikTok. Hair curlers and crime. Did you find it again afterwards? Yeah. I don't know, hun. Kelly says that she prays that you tell the truth, Sarah. We all are praying that you'll tell the truth, that you'll find it in your heart. If you really are and truly are, a Christian woman, then you need to tell us where Michael Joseph Vaughan is. Talk to law enforcement. Tell the Vaughan family where Monkey is. They deserve to have that kind of peace and bring him home and put him to rest. Michael deserves justice. Whatever happened on July 27th, 2021, and it is time, Sarah, for you to come forward. I mean, how well would you feel if you knew that you truly were forgiven, that you truly were going to go to heaven for all that you have done, if you just talk to law enforcement and do the right thing, because doing the right thing will guarantee you a place in heaven. You know, it's very difficult to admit doing that kind of wrong, and maybe you even feel like the only person you need to talk to is God. But how many times have you heard God tell you to talk to law enforcement? Because if God is speaking to you, I promise you, you've heard him. Guarantee you, you have heard him tell you to tell what you know, to talk about it. And if you're not doing what God has been telling you to do, how could you possibly think that you will be forgiven and go to heaven? That's my personal opinion. I don't like doing politics. I don't like doing religion here on the channel. It can cause a bunch of ruckus, but I just feel like if she truly wants to go to heaven and be saved, that she needs to tell what she knows. Michael Vaughan was abducted on July 27, 2021, and he deserves justice. He was abducted, out of Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood. The four named suspects in Michael Vaughan's abduction is Sarah and Stacy Wondra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Sherliff. If you have any information regarding the four suspects or Michael Vaughan's abduction, please come forward. Call the tip line at the Fruitland Police Department at 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. There is a $52,000 reward. You can remain anonymous. Do the right thing. Your tip can match somebody else's tip. Your tip could be the tip that is needed to put together this puzzle. Michael's family has suffered too long. They deserve answers. Sarah, you can give those answers to the Vaughan family. You ran the show. Run the show now. Run the show. Be the one that tells law enforcement what happened, because Stacy's going to throw you under the bus. Brandon is already talking, and that's not matching your story at all about Brandon sleeping on the couch. Brandon didn't sleep on the couch on July 27th. According to him, he went back to the Kuna house. So who's lying? You or Brandon? You know what happened. Come forward. I appreciate everybody coming in, being here for Monkey, being here for the Vaughans. I do appreciate you all. I'm so thankful that I have an amazing chat, amazing following here at Missing PNW, and I'm never going to stop. I will always be a part of Monkey's Army. I will always be here doing lives, talking about Michael until he gets the justice that he deserves, until the Vaughan family can find some peace. And I'm so happy to have you guys all here with me to help search for justice. Be Michael's hero. He needs to come home. Let's pray for Sarah to come forward too. Tina, Brandon's mom, is a Christian too. Yes, she is. We have all of these Christian people. Somebody needs to come forward. Jemima, I just want to say thank you again for sending me that information. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Sam. You are the best. Great chat as always. Thank you, Hair Curlers in Crime. Thank you. Justice is coming. God bless you, Sam, and thank you for all you do for Michael and Brandy. You do such an amazing work. I can't thank you enough. Well, thank you, Mama B. Thank you so much. Eve is telling everybody good night. I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Don't know what I have planned for tomorrow. I am supposed to be talking about Dee Dee Spicer and the Kyron Horman case, who she is and what she has to do with Michael's disappearance. So hit that notification bell. I have not done a thumbnail yet for that, but I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. I'm not sure yet. So hit that notification bell so you get the notification that I'm going live. And thanks again for being here for Monkey and his family. Have a great night. God bless.